In his lair. He showed you on a large high def scrying mirror two mecha balors flying straight for Port Hamor. And then, he looked rather smug as you ran to intercept these demons before they could wreck the entire city. So you returned to Port Hamor. You collected your three draconically paladin allies, as Port Hamor was in turmoil in the midst of an evacuation. You guys then decided to intercept the Mecha Balors outside of the city, about a mile south of the city walls. And there, 500 feet in the air, you engaged your enemy. The paladins, in draconic form, were very quickly eliminated. At which point there was a long, drawn-out battle, but eventually you emerged victorious, both Mecha Balors having been destroyed. Unfortunately, it was at the cost of Nala's life, and that of war. The war you were able to revive rather quickly, Nala having been reduced to a pile of, let's just say, you could write on the sack, blood with pulp. So you guys are in a still pretty shitty looking forest. It hasn't really recovered yet from the effects of the demonic invasion, but you're only about a mile south of Port Hamor.
Poor Port Hamor. That city's been through hell.
Not yet. I have not yet taken it to hell.
You brought hell to it.
You brought hell
with a demon invasion.
We've had Mechor Balors. We've had a rival hostile army all take poor Port Hamor. This place gets oofed a lot.
This little rinky-dink place, man.
It's like these people, when they see a rival flag, they just walk out with their hands up. All right, we surrender. We know the drill. We'll bring all our stuff out. We've done this a lot.
There's a board at the Sword and Board Inn. It's a chalkboard. And on it, it's basically, what apocalypse will occur this week, and there's people betting on it. There's betting pools.
I believe that. I believe that.
All right, but what would you guys like to do?
Heal.
Rest.
I'd like my robot to wake myself up using the last deal of Arcane Jolt, so it'll hit itself for 10 points of force damage, and then through using Arcane Jolt to heal me for 10 hit points.
I don't think resting would be a bad idea, especially if we have access to the mansion.
I can't cast it, but
I think Spectre can. Or Lieutenant can.
Lieutenant?
Where is Lieutenant?
Lieutenant?
I'm gonna pop out of the rope trick.
Lieutenant Diane.
If all else fails and
the spooky man, where you
he
at?
doesn't pop up, I do have Lehman's tiny hut.
You did hear me when I said you're only a mile south of town, right?
Well, let's just go to town.
It's not a bad idea.
At the hotel and actually chill.
Right? It's like
pick up our rewards for saving Port Hamor. Again.
For the better armor.
You're in plate. You don't get any better armor unless you get magical plate. Dragon plate be nice. We kill a dragon, you'll get some nice dragon armor.
Let's kill that fucking dragon then. It has some better armor.
How heavy are the bodies of the 3 deceased paladins?
200 pounds each.
Okay.
Without armor, without gear?
No, that's with all their gear and stuff.
Oh, that's so convenient. Okay.
It really is. Somebody know how to cast the what's the thing you can carry stuff on?
Tensor's floating disc, I
That,
actually
yes.
do.
Yes, that. And we could have we could have Pi drag it. The big fucking fighter can drag it along.
I can drag shit. I like this idea.
Alright, that sounds good. Let me get my last 3rd level spell slot expended so I can cast Aura of Vitality and get some healing for myself. Actually, I'll split it with Crazy, since he's our fighter. So I'll get 30 points of healing. And Crazy, you'll get 30 points of healing. And I'll cast ritually Tensor's floating disc to get 2 of the 3 paladins to bring with us. I'm gonna assume that Crazy gets the last body, and that Nala is carried by Gilbert.
Gilbert isn't here, so we'll carry whatever you're storing her in.
Gilbert's last action before we stopped the session was him putting Nala in a sack, I believe.
Okay.
I'm sure we can cover it.
Yeah,
either
Well,
way.
not
it's
like a
not an
sack,
issue.
but like a water skin, you know. She's
Yeah.
like a water skin. Ah!
As long as it holds.
All right, let's head back to town.
All right, yeah, you guys march. Takes about 45 minutes or so to navigate your way north. And you can see as you're coming out of the forest, the walls of Port Hamor in front of you. You can see some movement on the walls. It looks as if the town gate has been closed.
Are there any guards stationed?
Not outside, just on the wall.
Hey, can you let us in?
All right.
So-
They're on the wall, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to address them.
yeah. Well, they see you approaching. And when you guys get up to the town gate, you start to yell at them, "Hey, can you let us in?" There's like a little door on the larger door for the town gate, which opens, and you can see a town guard there, and he's kind of like, "Did you kill the demons?"
Yeah.
What do you think? Do we normally kill the things you send us to kill? Get out of my way. I need a bear and a sleep.
Great. Great. I'll let Commander Odwick know. And he runs off, leaving the door open behind him.
Fucking incompetent soldiers. I am going to the Sword and Board Inn to get a room and a drink. Not in that order.
I'm gonna follow War.
This was a fight that War almost died. He watched his buddy get turned into paste. He is very upset. This mission didn't go well for him. I mean, he survived, but just barely. And he needs to drink this shit off.
Oh, we're gonna take care of those boys. Don't worry about them. I'll take the next 40 minutes as soon as I get aboard at Sword and Board to gentle repose each body. I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but I would like to
Well,
stop
on your way
the
to
timer.
the inn, because you go by that kind of like a plaza that's between the Sword and Board and the castle. And when you're there, you see Lord Odwick there in armor with the men at arms that he had with him. And he looks at you and he says, "Well, congratulations. You beat him."
Yeah, we lost a few men. It'll take a few days to get them back, but that shouldn't be too difficult.
So you say. Works for me. When you guys are get yourselves cleaned up and have a meal. Come see me at the castle. And he turns and starts walking off.
Just gonna kind of look at whoever party members we got incredulously.
Yeah, tell the boss. We'll tell the boss. He'll see you. I'm going to bed. Fuck that. I ain't going to see shit. I don't get paid for big brain decisions.
Yeah, I'd like to do something while we're resting, but I can't do it yet.
I get paid to shoot things and kill things. That's what I do. So I'm going to lay down, have a drink, and relax.
All right, you guys enter the Sword and Board Inn. As soon as you enter, loud cheer goes up from a bunch of the townsfolk that have kind of congregated here. Drinks are pressed into your hands, accolades given all around. They seem very happy to see that you killed the demon threat again.
Just doing our jobs. Just doing our jobs. Let me sit down.
It's at this moment that I realize I'm all bloodied and fuck up, and I do my best to clean myself up with magic prestidigitation. And I try to get I'm gonna just as soon as possible get a room. I'm not trying to like attract attention.
Yeah, your usual room's available.
Very good.
I'm covered in blood and guts and gore. I don't give a shit. I'm having a drink.
Oh yeah. Drinks are flowing.
It's Lizard.
Indeed it is.
It is the grandest of lizards.
Have you guys started?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had just made it back to town.
But yes, you guys are able to eat, drink, rest. Presumably you guys decide to take a long rest.
Sounds good to me.
Before resting, I'd like to juxtapose the bodies,
Of course.
clean them up too, and all that.
All right. Morning comes. You guys exit your mansion from your hidey hole inside the inn, and you can still hear the sounds of lots of people outside the inn. It sounds like there is a large party going on.
Is this a continuation from yesterday?
It looks like it, except it's now spilled out into the streets.
Oh my. Well, I believe Lord Odwick wanted to see us, right? There he is.
There's the boss.
Com check.
He can hear you.
There you.
All right. And
We
right
got-
on time.
We got asked to come see Lord Ardwick while we were resting.
Yeah, you did have a long rest.
Okay. Where are we?
Sword and
Your room
Board Inn in
Sword and Board
Hetbo.
Inn.
Cool. Okay, so we go there?
All right, yeah, you guys step out of the inn, or whoever's going to the castle. There is what appears to be a large party going on inside the plaza. A very festive atmosphere. Everyone seems very happy to be alive. You also notice, as you guys are walking towards the castle, there seems to be more people here than you would think that there would be, given the previous events that have happened to Port Hamor.
Can I tell if they're foreigners or?
No, they're not foreigners. They appear to be Venetian.
New colonists?
After all the shit that's been happening lately?
They bring new people in here?
Well, what, you stop to ask him?
Yes. Yes, Gilbert does.
All right. So you pick a guy at random, start asking about how he got to Port Hamor. He kind of gives you this haunted look, and he says, "The war is not going well."
You guys egress to here?
Really, I would say we're probably more considered refugees at this point.
What happened?
Lahurst is gone.
The what now?
That's the capital, right, Under?
No, it's the third largest city.
What happened? How is it
Yeah,
gone?
define gone. Like it's a smoking crater? It just doesn't... What?
Oh, it's a crater, but there's no smoke. The dwarves undermined the whole city and then collapsed all of it.
What the fuck?
It's a dwarven uprising? What? You're at war with the dwarves?
Yes, we're at war with Balothland.
Oh, Balaflin, yeah, that's right. Balaflin's a dirty place.
Gilbert's
Damn.
gonna give you the side eye.
I'm not from Balaflin. I don't give a shit. You can give me all kinds of weird eyes you want. I don't care. War is not from
Sorry,
Balaflin.
not Balothland, Tamunzar. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait, aren't Balothan and Tamunzar allies, though?
They were.
Well, Balothland might be, but not with Venetia. Venetia is not an ally with them.
Actually, can... I would like to inquire, what is the current situation for, like, allied powers and central powers in this mix?
One moment.
Like, who is whose friend, and who is declaring war on who?
Oh, will you give us a conveniently colored map to show which nations are friendly and hostile?
No.
Aw.
What nations are friendly to us? It's kind of like neutral gray all around. What nations are our enemies? It goes bright
of them.
fucking red.
All of them.
At best, you are viewed neutrally. At worst,
So
they're
he
gonna
kind of
use
says
a
that
way-
there's basically three sides. There's Venetia, Eglis, and an alliance between Nanganda and Tamunzar. Balothland's still on the fence, though we're trying to though there's been talks that they might join our side. Dragging them out of their mountain strongholds. Bit of a pain. Eglis has, well, the pamphlets have labeled them aggressively neutral.
So pacifists patting themselves on the back?
No, more like if either side even looks at them sideways, they, start dropping meteors on them.
So don't fucking enter our border without permission or we blow shit up.
And we need to start doing that. Look who let all these people in here.
So when Lahurst collapsed, those of us that were still there boarded the last remaining couple of ships and set sail for Port Hamor because, we figured it would be better.
Oof.
There's no war over here, right?
You are so sadly mistaken. I think I would have taken dwarf fighting over demon fighting. But that's just me.
But you
Dwarves
killed the
are
demons.
easier to kill. Dwarves are easier to kill. It takes less arrows. So, because they're shorter. So it takes less arrows to kill a dwarf than it does a demon. Especially in them Baylors. They take a lot of arrows to bring down.
Yeah, but the dwarves don't fight honorably. They just do things like dig under your city and blow it up.
More coming back probably to Port Hamor. I'm telling this to the person now with a drink in my hand. There are probably still some coming back to Port Hamor, We'll have to kill them as
Gilbert's gonna subtle spell like hold person on War to get him to stop trying to destroy this guy's morale.
Yeah, we had to repel some Ugandans over here at one point.
It's Ngande, goddamn.
I don't got fucking any respect for those bastards.
Who is
Like,
Oh,
the
wait.
one we
It's the primacy accent, right? Ngande sounds like Uganda.
Grande,
Yes, I'm gonna go with
where
that.
War is from.
Is that the primacy accent? They just don't pronounce the letter N.
I guess so. Not for nations they hate anyway.
You mean Asians?
That's where War is from.
Asians.
He's from Noongold or whatever it's called.
They don't say no either. They say oh.
Oh, I don't think so.
Still the same meaning.
Right. Shit. He does have a point though. No one's tried undermining Portimore.
Those drow bastards keep to themselves in their pit, more or less, so...
We've kind of destroyed every major local power. Is there a local power we haven't destroyed?
The sorceress in the walking house.
The fucking blue dragon.
Hags.
The
But,
dragon girl.
You're right. Once we off him, then we'll have killed every local power.
The dragon.
So,
We have the witches in the home. We have the cannibal. No, the cannibals aren't.
Oh yeah,
I don't-
they're a ways
Yes.
away. Actually, under.
Mhm.
We have 4 Baylor demons.
In
Baylor.
terms of radius, a week's worth of like regular travel for say a conventional army. How far would that get on the continental map? Like,
So let's
it's been
see.
a-
Normal march is about 24 miles a day.
so two squares.
Right. Assuming flat, easy to traverse terrain going through forests and mountains is slower. But, across open plains, let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. A week's march would be the radius wise would be just shy of touching Elcott from Port Hamor.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it looks like conventionally speaking, we've pretty much uprooted every local power. Only thing really left is the dragon, but he has archmages, so that's fairly atypical.
Yep.
Shit, we've uprooted like everything around here. Honestly, I don't think his decision was all that bad.
What
Pretty-
about
pretty
the,
wise
the,
choice.
the what about the witches in the house?
I mean, they're more likely to fuck people up on a family level or maybe a town level than the entirety of the port. They're more of a nuisance.
The dragon turtle?
I am a bit concerned on how easily bribable that turtle is.
Yeah, I do advocate for either his re-education or his extermination. Regardless, let's go speak to let's
Yeah.
go speak to Lord Commander Odwick.
Before I forget, I'm not sure what you wanted to do with the paladins, but I brought them back and Crazy did. I reposed the bodies. They're nice for a bit.
Okay, so the only person currently still dead is Nala?
No, they're all dead, with the exception of War. I was able to bring him back pretty quickly. 2 of the 3 paladins should be relatively easy to revive. The last one, well, he got mauled by that Baylor pretty bad.
Do we have his body?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, let's go see Odwick, and then we can see to reviving our comrade.
Our bag of Nala?
Indeed.
Okay, so you guys make your way through the party. Drinks end up and thrust into your hands as you walk by. You never even see who hands them to you.
I don't care. War is drinking his ass off. He is enjoying himself because he's still shooken from the fight.
Yeah, you can hear some music. There's dancing. People seem in rather jovial spirits as you enter the keep. Inside the keep, you see Vorcha behind his desk. He appears to have an ale with him. And there's a bunch of nobles standing in front of the desk yelling at him, and he's just got this look on his eyes, like this 1,000-yard stare of he's not even listening to them anymore.
Are they new nobles? Oh, that's
No.
probably why. Oh,
Sorry, what under?
He asked if they were new nobles, and I said no, they're the same ones that you've always seen bugging Vorcha, except at this point Vorcha has run out of fucks to give, so he's just kind of just staring off into the distance.
Can we hear the sound of a ukulele in the background as he stares? No more fucks to give. My fucks have run up.
Yeah, he does notice you guys when you walk in. He brightens up a bit, and kind of leans around the noble that's currently waving some parchment in his face, and he just kind of waves you past and up the stairs.
All right. As we pass by, what have these nobles been yelling at him about?
So apparently no one paid for any of the food or drink that people are currently consuming, and there's been some property damage, and they want to know how they're going to get compensated, and Vorcha just doesn't give a shit.
Ah, yes. The town is broke. We're happy to be here. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, let's get to the outlook.
Yeah, so you head up the stairs and go to Odwick's office. There are no guards outside his office today.
This is concerning. Gilbert's gonna, I don't know, be on guard,
Okay.
and then he'll knock.
All right. You hear Odwick say, "Enter."
And Gilbert opens the door
All
and
right.
enters.
You see Odwick sitting behind a different desk. If you recall, the other one was kind of damaged in the fighting. So this looks to be a less nice desk. It's less ornate, not quite as big. It's like he took his assistant's desk and just moved it into his office. He kind of looks up, sees you guys coming, kind of waves to some chairs that are set in front of his desk. There are more chairs than people you brought. And he says, thanks for coming. Take a seat. We have some things we need to discuss.
This is ominous.
I take the seat.
Great. So, this is, by my count, the third or fourth time you've saved our collective asses. So thanks for that. Unfortunately, our treasury is literally empty. We have nothing to offer you in compensation for that. The Ngandians, bastards that they are, took everything that wasn't nailed down and some things that were when they left.
So
Fucking
you have
Ngandia.
no money, no nothing?
I have no gold, no silver, no items even to offer you.
Do the masons and the builders, they're all out of stuff too?
Currency? I don't know.
I don't want currency.
Well, what do you want? That is the purpose of this meeting, is what is it
Build
you guys
a new
want?
war wagon.
Oh, I thought there was going to be another tragedy we're going to have to stop.
There's,
Build us a new war wagon. Better than the original.
oh, we can handle that on our own. And Probably
But we gotta
faster
kill a
too. No offense.
dragon, though. We gotta go kill a dragon. We need all the stuff we can get. We need stuff, gear, stuff.
I
to
mean,
kill it.
I want magical
Yeah.
armor.
You've all seen this place. They don't
You'll-
have anything to give us.
I know,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
well, not monetarily or in terms of equipment. I have had a thought though. Remember I was telling you guys about building a base of operations?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gilbert's going to look to Lord Commander Odwick and ask him what the current real estate claims are, out west of here.
Hey, whatever happened to that demon armor we had? That
So you know
the
how
Califor's armor.
right,
know-
right, Kilvar's armor. So you know how all of my stuff was crushed at the bottom of a several 100-foot pit?
Oh, okay.
I
It's
threw
somewhere
it
there
back
still.
down there.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking that's the only other set of magical armor we have that's better than plate, but I just couldn't remember who had it last.
I would not call that armor better than plate.
It's
It
a
literally
plus
makes you
one
more.
armor.
It makes you more vulnerable to demons, though.
If you're fighting demons, if you're not fighting demons, it gives you bonuses on everything. I mean, if we're going against dragons, it'd be fine.
He has a
There's
point.
one other problem with that suit of plate armor. Well, it does reshape to the user. It does not reshape the cod piece. It was very uncomfortable.
I mean, King didn't have a problem with it, but
That's because King had a small dick.
Damn.
Oof.
Well, he's sunk
Right,
to the
right,
bottom of the ocean, so he must have been ashamed about it.
But yeah, Gilbert's going to ask about the situation of claims of real estate around Portamore, like outside of it.
Outside of it, there are none, quite frankly. We hold dominion over the city itself, we being, the actual Venetian government. But the rest of this land is technically unclaimed. I suppose the question is, where would you like to build something? Because labor and materials, that we do have, especially with that refugee boat that showed up.
Just a second, I gotta pull up a map. Hold on.
We had a couple of watchtowers to the north and south, but we haven't managed to have enough people to send out on patrol to actually enforce such claims for quite some time. So to really say we claim that is, quite frankly, untenable.
Hold on, I'm trying to find the map under it. It has the information. The local area map is the one I'm talking about. I'm trying to figure out where I stashed that thing. Actually, under this does raise a question for me. So then, the town of Casson, officially speaking, like, whose jurisdiction was that under, like, legally?
Lord Commander, I would tell you, well, it was technically its own jurisdiction. We, by virtue of providing certain amounts of security for it, in terms of them being, in theory, able to call upon us for aid, they did pay us some taxes and, nominally owed us fealty. That being said, it was founded by a man called Casson, and it was sort of his own personal fiefdom. Again, there are no real official land claims out west. Once you leave the city, you're in the wilderness. It's more what can you stake out and what can you defend. Sure, you can claim the entirety of the continent, but you're not really realistically able to defend such a large area with so few forces.
Right, right.
That might help, though.
Damn it. Too many tabs. Ah, yes, here we are. Under what kind of terrain? I shouldn't say terrain. So Gilbert has physically been to Mountain Maz, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. You flew over it once, I believe.
When the rock attacked me and I fell through the trees and
Mhm.
when I had to climb up of it to get to the griffin. As far as constructing a like what kind of mountain is this? Are we talking like Appalachian Mountain, the Alps? Like, am I making sense here?
Yes.
How old is this mountain? I mean, I see it has snow peaking, so it's kind of high, but I'm trying to get an idea for, is it steep cliffs or like gradual?
It is somewhat steep in areas. They're to the east is actually kind of a gradual slope. To the west tends to be a bit sharper, a bit higher rate of change.
All right. Yeah, Gilbert's gonna propose Mount Imaz, the potential construction of a base there.
Okay. Odd would kind of nod. He's like, well, we can certainly facilitate building you a base of operations, on the mountain. Take some time, obviously, to, build it. I guess the question would be then is what kind of structure are you looking at here? Do you just want to build a tower, a keep? You looking to build a mountain city? I don't know if we have the
Well,
resources to support building a second city, but
very true.
we can certainly keep the area such that it could be built.
Gilbert's gonna look over at the party and ask them what they think of this and if they have any ideas for a kind of structure. Because
But
currently, what Gilbert's thinking is more mixture of a stronghold and underground fortifications.
That's exactly what I was thinking inside
Yeah.
the mountain. That's something I would
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah, into the mountain, but we need
Yeah.
tower points for sniping outside of it.
I mean,
And
we can definitely handle some of that on our own. We can definitely handle a good portion of this
create
with
a
our own.
bottleneck the enemy, make them come across a bridge or a bottleneck.
I mean, I think we'd have to survey the area to some degree and then clear out that rock.
Yeah.
Before anybody heads out there for construction. But given its access to a river and proximity to the road system, the reason I proposed Mountain Maz was it would potentially also be a good location to withdraw the citizens of Port Hamor to, rather than just having them flee into the woods.
Be the Daydun compound.
Think a Helm's Deep to Rohan.
Okay, I can deal with that.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Back up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's perfect. No way to get into it. It's a good controllable area. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
by the way, the peak of Mount Amaz is about 9,000 feet high.
It's pretty high.
Out of curiosity, how high was the escarpment that the ancient red dragon lived on?
That was about 13,000.
Yeah, we
Okay, guys.
killed him too.
We have about 4,001 feet. We need to knock off another mountain first.
Well, Mount Amaz is not like there are mountains in the Esther Mountains all throughout it that are taller by several thousand feet over Mount Amaz.
Yeah.
Mount Amaz being
I know.
somewhat isolated on the edge of the range like that will be lower than those.
Mm-hmm.
Though it is taller than
I'm making a joke about
Being
space
real
and-
tall.
Well, it is
mountains.
taller than the mountains immediately to its south, but near Cassin and
Mhm.
Cassin's Crypt. Those don't even go above the tree line. They top out at around 65, 7,000 feet.
But Mount Amaz, based on that detailing, there seems like a pretty solid strategic choice. Hell, if we ever need to, and water in some cases gets to be a problem, we have literal ice.
Yeah, and Otto kind of just nods. It's like, well, there's also a spring over there from what I recall of the survey notes. So you could always
Even
base
better.
your fortification around that spring and not have to worry about fresh water.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Gilbert can breathe ice, and then we can just purify it.
I don't actually have that ability anymore.
You lost your ice breath?
And my fire breath.
See? So what? So the 2 dragon souls you consumed were basically wasted. See?
They got plenty of value for the time they were used.
Oh yeah, they got plenty of value. And honestly, the trade that I got in exchange was not horrible. Now I can continue to do what I want in perpetuity.
So he tells
God,
you,
I'm
it's like, so why don't you go? You don't really need anything from me then for that. Really, what you need to do is you need to go and talk to the Masons Guild and figure out, based on the size and type of structure you're building, how many masons you're going to need, builders, laborers, whatnot.
Indeed. All right. Is there any paperwork we'd have to fill out eventually for legal recognition of the claim?
No, there's really nothing you need to fill out. I can I've already written a note that I can send, that I'll be sending with the next ship that heads back to Benicia to let them know that we are recognizing your claim to that area. Technically, I suppose you would theoretically owe us fealty, but quite frankly, there's nothing we can do to force you to bend the knee. So we would rather prefer to. I would rather prefer to keep your forces and Port Hamor on friendly terms.
Makes sense.
Are we actually going to get away with downtime?
Yes. It only took 3 savings of a town to get downtime.
Oh my god, I got a bucket list from hell.
Oh wait, holy.
Ooh, I just
Holy
read
shit.
Lizard got his internet booster.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, Mick, you're not wrong. I just looked over some of my notes. I don't think the party has taken downtime in the equivalent of maybe 6 months of like in-universe adventure and over a year.
That's technically not true. We took downtime on the boat trip
Yeah,
back here with the Paladins.
You guys have had a week here and there, and you've had days sporadically, but you've never had a long, contiguous block of time. It's always been a few days here and there type things.
Yeah,
I guess so.
got a couple of manuals here for constructs I've been meaning to use.
Since I
Need some
wasn't here,
explosive bolts.
well, since I wasn't here, how exactly did the dragon convince us to leave its lair?
Basically, it pulled up a giant TV screen of villainy. Said, "You can either fight me or you can save your town," and I picked town.
See, that's why
Because
only fools are heroes.
Well,
Spider-Man.
if we fought him, we would have no resources whatsoever to fight the Baylors. I think we made the
Yeah.
right call.
Yeah. Besides, if we did fight him, I somehow have a feeling he had a contingency plan
Oh, absolutely.
to where even if we did win, we didn't actually win, and thus we still lost.
Yep. So I suppose the first step in this new plan is to survey the area.
Mm-hmm. Because there is that rock that we're gonna have to. Spectre, are you here?
Had to deal with some really obnoxious bullshit, but I'm back now.
And Pete.
Yeah.
How well versed in animal handling is Basil?
Very.
All right.
Why, you want
How
some animals you need handled?
How about we don't kill the rock? We domesticate it. Or at least tame it.
I could be down for that. I've never met this rock.
Think a giant angry bird.
Hmm.
The size of a house.
This rock is in Mount
I'm
Imax.
gonna need
Gilbert, it
really
was a little
big
larger than
slingshot.
that. It has a 200-foot wingspan.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the size of 10 houses.
Spectre, I need you to build me an enormous slingshot that will enable me to deal with this angry bird.
Yeah, it's doable.
God damn it.
No, would I know whether rocks are, like, all that intelligent?
You know they're sentient.
Oh, okay, it's just a big-ass bird.
It is a monstrously large bird, yes.
Are we expecting this rock in Mount Imax?
Yeah. When I had to run back to Port Hamor in the nude, that rock decided to bully me both and Nala's Griffin.
Hmm.
No. And Adlet kind of nods. He's like, well, sounds like you guys have a plan. I don't know what it is I could do to help you, but if there's anything you need, feel free to ask.
Of course. Is there anything you need from us?
If you could avoid bringing more apocalypses to the city, that would be perfect. Absolutely
No problem.
perfect. I didn't think there would be.
Yeah.
I cannot promise you
I mean,
that, but I
We've
think I can
stopped every
safely make the
apocalypse that
promise
we've caused.
that we will not allow it to go uncontested.
Well, I suppose it's something. At least I know that our deaths will be avenged. Or, sorry, contested. But really, once you guys get your nice stronghold set up, we'll just put up big-ass signs that point the arrow towards you guys, and you can deal with it then. So please, go talk to the Mason Skill. Let's get you guys set up with that.
So I really like this, but if we're going to take downtime, we need to do something about Nala.
Yeah, her body, it's not viable for.
Yeah. Well, I'm prepared to bring her back right now. I just can't do it because she isn't here. Or rather, because Sleuth isn't here.
Hold on a second. Allow me to attempt to conjure Sleuth.
Let's see. Raise dead. Does not restore missing body parts. Spell fails if the creature is lacking body parts, organs integral for its survival.
Oh, come on, you know that's not what I'm casting here.
Yes, the body. To answer the implied question, the body is not viable for Raise Dead.
Yep, that's why I'm going to create a new body.
I don't think she would. I mean, if that's the only choice we got, but I feel like we got something else.
If we have the materials for true resurrection.
Would resurrection work?
That's a good question. I don't think I have resurrection.
What level is resurrection? Because I
7th.
can't be lieutenant cast that at a lower level with the expenditure of wish
That's what I'm thinking.
and not burn wish permanently.
Yeah. It would also bypass the material requirement.
You can also use the transmutation stone.
Oh yeah.
That would be useful for the paladins as well. The 2 of the 3 bodies are viable for Raise Dead.
It restores missing body parts.
Is being crushed a missing body part?
I mean, if all of the body parts are missing, they should still be restored, right?
Yeah, as long as you got enough of it, it should work.
Like
Yeah.
50, 60%?
We've got like 2 liters, roughly.
Well, it's more you need a body to touch. If it's been disintegrated, you can't use it. Like the ash is not sufficient
Right. What
as a
about
base
jelly?
material. A chunky salsa'd body is resurrection viable.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, fortunately, resurrection works until up to a century, so we can wait on this, potentially.
I mean,
I think we should take care of it as soon as possible.
from a mixture of mechanical stuff, I think it would probably be better to, revive Nala sooner.
Yeah,
That
I
way
mean,
we don't run into the problem of and then we go adventuring and then Sleuth shows up with no character.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then us being in the awkward position where it's like, well, unfortunately, we're right about to enter a blue dragon fight. We can't afford to expend that spell slot. Oh shit, sorry.
Well, we have the resources to bring her back basically for free right now, so we can handle this whenever Sleuth shows up. Am I wrong about that, Under?
Nope.
Alright.
With access to Wish, you can basically cast Resurrection for free once a day. Assuming the lieutenant's willing to use the spell slot for one of the downtime days to cast it. Because basically at this point you guys are in downtime. You can go talk to the Masons Guild at your leisure and kind of detail what you want built. And they can kind of tell you how long that would take. You can, the construction cost is basically being waived because Port Hamor, that is the political entity, is supplying the labor and the material as a thank you for saving their collective asses multiple times. So the question that they would need from you guys would be, what is it you want built?
And we have all the survey info?
Yes. It is sufficiently surveyed that they could at least tell you how long it would take. Obviously, they wouldn't know till they get on site, the actual survey for it, but, in terms of, building a large castle will take 1,200 days. Building a small trading post will take 60. The scale...
This is in the DMG, right?
Yeah, it's page 128.
Well, we might not have to build a castle. I bet there's already one there.
There is not.
Well, maybe not there, but I mean in a suitable location somewhere.
I mean, yeah, there are castles we could convert. There's actually literally one right up the road from Port Hamor. If you go northwest through the Casson Woods, then north onto the plains, then off a little dirt road there, there is a castle there. What page did you say under? 128?
Yep. There's a chart building a stronghold.
Oh man, this is like this is just fantastic.
Yeah, no, I like this idea though.
We finally get to use this section of the DMG. All right. So let's see.
Can we start with something smaller, then add on to it later?
I mean, with the powers
Yes.
we have access to in the party, we definitely can handle certain earthwork stuff pretty easily.
Yeah, we could build like a small redoubt first, and then construct a larger keep around that as time goes on.
Right.
Yeah,
As long as you guys
like,
don't build yourselves into a corner where you're like trying to build these huge cantilevered stone structures out in the middle of space.
Yeah, not that.
What kind of stone structures?
Cantilevered.
Cantilevered. It's only supported on one end and it's just kind of pointing out into space.
Ah, okay. So as long as you don't try to Minecraft construction this.
Well, we should have at least one thing like that for dramatic purposes.
Oh,
Not too big,
like a artificial precipice that's just weak enough that during a dramatic moment it might give.
No, not like that. I just mean like a fancy balcony or something.
Oh, of course. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Looking at this, guys, we have an abbey, a guild hall, town, or city. Wow, I can't believe that's one lump. Keep or small castle, noble estate with manor, outpost.
Those
or fort,
are
palace.
suggestions. Really,
Right.
what
Okay.
you guys should do is basically draw me a map of what structure you want built. And including earthworks and the terrain. You can define all of that. And from that, we can figure out what category this would be in. This really, there's a couple like basic size categories. You know, you've got like a single tower, which is going to take so there's like a simple like low stone base. That'd be like a 60-day structure to build. After that, you'd have like more of a fortified tower. It would take 100 days. Something the size of a keep or a small castle would be about 400 days. A large castle, like an actual like big ass castle, would take about 1,200 days. You know, with minor variations in there depending on the exact things that you guys want. So, but really that's something for you guys to come up with is what do you want your base to look like? You design it.
Hang on, just give me 3 hours to design this thing in Minecraft.
Yeah, right. Well, before we get to designing, we need to, if we're going to have a design process, then we got to ask ourselves what kind of functionality do we want out of this place?
A fuck ton of defensive. Mostly in the mountain itself.
Under this might be slightly obnoxious, but do you have like a picture you can come up with for what exactly the construction area would look like? Like around the spring?
You mean like the terrain?
Yeah, like a real life visual aid.
Wait, did you say there was a spring? I missed that part.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
the-
is a rather large spring in this mountain. This mountain is the tallest in that area on the edge like that because it basically jutted up into an aquifer and jutted upwards. That's why that area is more elevated. But that means underneath the mountain there is a significant water source.
Right. Is there like an exposed pool somewhere on the mountain, or is that all just underground?
It's mostly underground and it just comes up through cracks all along the northeast mountain face, which
Right.
then ends up pooling down into that river that then flows into the Casson Woods.
Would we know if this is like a regularly glaciated peak, or is this clear year round?
Above, like, the tree line ends at around 7,000 feet. At starting at about 8,000 feet, you generally have like a permanent snow cap.
Right.
So, really, it's up to you where you guys like. Do you want to build it below the tree line, above the tree line, on the snow cap itself? I don't really have a terrain to give you guys. I can do some image searches on Google to show you kind of like what a mountain would look like, but
Yeah.
I never defined what this mountain looked like, and so
I mean,
you could define the terrain as what you want it to look like.
yeah. I mean, for design purposes, it's more or less a cone. Like,
If you want it to be, yes.
well, I just mean in the very general sense of what a mountain is shaped like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like this.
Oh,
Does that help?
And the whole area speckled around there contains aquifers.
Sorta. It's more like, so that particular mountain was formed because you had the northern and southern plate, sliding on top of each other. There's a third plate in that area, third geologic formation of that aquifer. And when the mountain formed, it kind of blew that aquifer up. And so half the mountain consists of an aquifer. That's why there's a water source up there. Because that water is just flowing down through that exposed aquifer. That's where the mountain springs come from.
interesting.
Which
Are we
means
talking like a large cavernous mountain spring?
I'm talking about surface water generation.
Okay, so this is on the surface.
The
Yeah,
springs
just like-
are on the surface, yes. They're basically, 5 feet long, 2 feet wide crevasses with water pouring out of them.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have any trouble finding a place to dig a well or something equivalent.
So at least I'm personally thinking, at least the core structure being subterranean, we can probably add stuff onto the surface if we want later. But I'm thinking we should probably build the core structure into the mountain.
Like, this is what the mountain would look like from Casson.
Ah, that's very pretty.
It really is.
It's like the back of a box of organic coffee grounds or something.
Yeah, I recognize that mountain.
Yeah, I figured you would. It's a famous mountain.
Wait, what mountain is this? It's not Rainier, is it?
It is Rainier.
Oh, I do recognize it.
Actually, this might be on the back of a coffee box.
It might be.
It probably is. That's probably why I said that.
Like, I'm sure I sold a box that had this on there.
See that mountain every time I go out to get groceries on a clear day. On a not so clear day, you can't see the mountain because of the fucking haze.
Goddamn haze.
Damn it, Hayes.
Also, judging by the way that spotted picture looks, I'm gonna say that was taken up at the Paradise Trail.
Very good.
I've never been to Rainier, but I have climbed Washington in the winter, which was quite the experience.
So, would this be one of those things of like, if we pick a location to build and then like throw out a square footage, would that be what determines the length of time for construction?
Basically, yes. Bear in mind that building, they're going to be using local materials to build this. There's no quarry to pull stone from, so they're going to be basically cutting into the mountain to build stone structures. Or they're using wood from the forest at the base of the mountain. So keep that in mind, that they don't have to haul like material. So yes, it really is just like it's not so much the square footage. So it sort of is. Subterranean wise, square footage directly goes to time built. For structures, it's really more the perimeter. The longer the perimeter, the longer it takes. But that doesn't scale necessarily with area. Quite frankly, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not going to do any math.
Hmm. Well, Gilbert, I like the idea of having most of the structure be within the mountain. I think we could maybe do something like not quite a. We would have sort of a platform entryway on the slope of the mountain with like a. And maybe this would be atop a parapet of some kind that would just go down onto the slope. And then we would have a big door just going inside, and everything else would be underground.
That makes sense to me. Entranceway, access route.
Why don't we dig into the mountain for the entrance?
Well, yeah, that was the idea.
I'm a little bit concerned about adding on to the platform for the entrance. Might
Well,
make
I-
the thing less stable.
Well, I don't really mean like an extending platform. If any. Oh, okay. I see what you mean now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we would just like cut out a big chunk of the mountain and have that be like a ledge. We would create
Yes,
a ledge by like
that's what
digging
I'm
into the
thinking.
slope. Yeah, that was what I was envisioning.
Okay, so like so what you're saying is like you'll have an incline that goes up to it. We are going to physically build a door into the side.
More or less.
I like the sound of that. That's pretty classic dungeon construction. I like it.
Yeah, this is like a dwarven style mountain fastness.
they know how to build underground shit. It's the
Now,
reason why-
how deep should we go?
Too deep.
I mean, obviously that's going to be the goal. I mean, like tier 1, how deep?
Probably not that deep. Just like enough to have square footage for whatever initial functionality we want with this. So that's like basic living space plus maybe a vault, some quarters for animals or something.
Are we gonna need glowstone to make crops under the mountain as well?
Well, we're still waiting for the update right now, so we don't want to go to the Nether yet. No, I'm good.
I think we should definitely design this with defensive usage in mind.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
that's
that's our
the idea
primary concern.
behind having one entrance.
We could put a teleportation circle in there eventually.
Yeah, well, we would build this pretty far up the edge of the mountain.
If we could pull up some plans, maybe like get this inspired by a pyramid or something.
Oh,
I
maybe.
mean, I know I already have a couple of inspiration designs. Actually, I think all of you should probably be familiar with the map, at least the one that I've been kind of looking at. This would be the map that Underused for the Sibilant Temple, and the one I used for the one shot where you guys massacred all the cultists. The ones that worshipped elemental stone.
The Sibilant Temple?
Yeah, this was way back early on in the campaign. The one that Kilvar pulled in. Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah, the Sibilant Temple.
Yeah, I've done some looking through different maps, and the Princes of the Apocalypse have some pretty good internal dungeon maps. I would not actually use Undermountain as a reference for obvious reasons, but Under, I can think of a couple good floors on there that would be good reference works too. But yeah, I'm thinking if we're able to set this into the mountain, we could artificially generate some internal terrain if we needed to, like a chasm.
I
mean, honest-
a chasm. I think a chasm might be a bad idea.
I mean, true. Just throwing it out there.
Okay, you're the person in like every set design that's like, we need a big pit here. It's like, why do we need a pit?
I'm the person that in dungeon design goes, what are all the cliches? I need all of those. And then we're going to put innovation hidden inside the cliche so they don't expect it.
Oh, one of those subverted expectation directors. Get on out of here with that crap.
I wouldn't go that far.
I just don't think we should have a big pit in our new place.
Yeah, fair enough. Pit's not necessary. I mean,
The last time I was in a pit, I died.
that's a good point. Last time I was in a pit, there was a giant shadow monster from the negative energy plane. Under. Using this picture as a reference, like, how long would something like that take to carve out?
That would probably take about 400 days to carve out. That would be considered a small castle.
Okay.
I don't know if we even need to go that big, though.
And those are 5 foot
Multiple
squares?
rooms. We need multiple rooms
Or
for
the
people.
10
though.
foot squares?
Yeah, but we could make it a lot more compact. Like, have maybe one main entryway, a bunch of living quarters, a vault.
Is that a 10-foot squares or 5-foot squares?
I'm checking. 10 foot.
Alright.
I want a room that's overlooking the entrance with sniper slits, so I can snipe from the top above.
Oh, yeah, we could totally do that.
So the thing about if we make it compact is I am concerned about certain kind of magics being used against it. Take, for example, what is it? Help me out here, guys. It transmutes a hull
Transmute.
that's like 70 long. No.
You're not thinking of stone shape, are you?
No, a pass wall.
Oh, pass wall.
Yeah, depending on how we array it, pass wall would make it really easy for the enemy to surge multiple rooms. And if we're attempting to hold a mountain fastest, we want to prevent them from being able to bring a larger force to bear against our smaller
I
force.
see.
We want to have choke points. Long, narrow hallways would be handy.
Well, the one thing we could do is just build it really deep into the mountainside and just have a really long, narrow hallway right, like, after the entrance. Like, you come in, and then there's a long, narrow hallway.
Makes sense to me.
Maybe, like, 10 feet wide. Or would that be too wide?
To some degree, I would like to be able to accommodate refugees from Port-Hamor if necessary. So we might need to be able to accept longer flow. It's we want to have, even if it's made on the fly, we'd want to have a way to create choke points.
Well, my other idea was I wanted the entrance to this place to be virtually inaccessible over land. Like, you basically have to climb up a sheer cliff to get into where this place is.
That would make it more defensible, but it would make it harder to get outside aid.
Well, I mean, when are people going to be coming here, like, on foot?
I'm tempting to think future opportunities. Although you do have a fair point there. Out of curiosity, Under, do we get to just design this ourselves?
Yes.
Like the floor plan too?
Yep. They will dig what you tell them to.
What are the good settings for worldographer / hexographer / dungeonographer?
Huh? What do you mean, what are the good settings?
The ones that let you start with a pretty clear border between what is open space and what is wall.
Dig 20 feet now.
I don't know. I haven't used Dungeonographer in a long time.
I use GIMP for making battle maps, if that's what you're trying to do.
Make them dig 20 feet down.
What have you been using, Under?
campaign cartographer.
Okay. One moment.
But really, you guys don't have to use that. It's more sketch it on a napkin and scan it, and that would be enough. You also don't need to do it tonight either. You guys can hold off probably till next session when it would actually
That'd be
be
good.
finished.
Yeah, because I don't have anything set up for this. I did not expect us to be able to do the thing. This is really cool.
Out of curiosity, do they happen to have a free trial version?
I don't think so.
Sneaky Pete,
Yeah, what?
do you know where we can maybe find a thing
For what?
for what's being mentioned?
What's being mentioned? Is he talking about campaign cartographer? Because I don't use that.
Guys, let's not talk about piracy literally in Underdark's recording.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like what you're insinuating.
Yeah, I mean, are you asking me to tell you how to get things without paying for them? Because frankly, I resent that.
Anywho,
Yeah.
how about that
Okay.
rock? I feel like that's something we could take care of.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
session.
Yeah, let's go take care of the rock.
Yeah.
Where is the rock?
Somewhere around the mountain. Probably
Okay.
has a roost there.
Well, I know exactly what I'm looking for. So once we're in the right area, let me scroll up here.
So what are we doing?
We're looking for a big bird.
We're going to tame a big bird.
That's also what I'm calling it
Big
now.
Bird? Can that be my new mount?
Well, I have to tame it first.
I don't doubt that you can tame it. Now I'm wondering how long it'll be tamed, and it'll recognize other people that they're not food.
Well, as long as we Hold on a second. I just remembered that I bought something a while ago, and I'm just seeing a use for it now.
Oh boy.
Oh, but I was looking. Let's see, where is it?
We should also probably construct quarters for henchmen. Because you know we're going to get henchmen, right?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely, we're getting someone to defend it when we're not around.
In getting. I'm thinking creating.
Ah,
Yeah. Just remember that maintaining a structure as well as the hirelings for running it when you're not there does have an ongoing cost. That's also in the DMG.
Yep.
Yeah, but what if we're creating them with true polymorph and rocks?
It will still cost money to feed them.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that
Could
part.
our
But
inactive
if
characters
they're rocks,
reside
can't we
here?
just feed them rocks?
No, we're actually, depending on what we make, we could feed them rocks.
Well, what we really need is somebody to manage this while we're out, and I think I might have a solution to that later. But first, I'm going to start ritual casting, locate animals and plants to
And
find this
our
rock,
inactive and other characters reside here as well?
presumably.
If they're not dead.
ooh.
Yeah, with that one minor stipulation.
Didn't quite hear that clearly. What? Who's not dead?
You're revived.
No, I said we can use it for like our inactive characters that are set up in Port Hamor, like the characters we didn't use since they're still part of the company. Could we theoretically store them there? Like, say they live there as well. Like Red could have. I think she's still alive, isn't she? She could have a shop or some shit.
Didn't she fuck off right up north?
No one's ever confirmed her condition.
I mean, set up a a fucking whatever it was.
Sounds like
She
an
definitely
underdog.
isn't what the place was. Yeah.
All right, but with the example dungeon picture there, that's like 400 days. What do you guys think of that spacing with each square being 10 feet? You guys think that's enough space?
No.
At least
Probably.
in
I'm trying to think where we'll all be.
We'll need a dining hall, a place to eat, a place to prepare food, a place to store weapons, a place to practice with weapons, and then our rooms. Place for the alchemist, like a lab where he can build stuff and this, that, and other.
Oh yes, I would definitely like something like that.
I mean, every one of our characters has, secondary skills that they can use. Well, except for War, he doesn't have any secondary skills. War just shoots things.
Gilbert
Right.
also doesn't actually have secondary skills.
But he can. But War could set up like an archery range and underground and stuff.
I'll probably have henchmen to train at this point.
Yeah, we'll have training courses, and we need a place to train. We need a place to store weapons.
Courses could probably be done on the surface. I mean, let's think core features we're gonna need. Like, what kind of entranceway do we want to do?
Well, we can think about all this later.
Gate
Fair-
moat.
Fair enough.
Drop-
Let's
Or
go
colors.
rock hunting. Sorry, I digress.
Well, anyway, I was going to try and locate creature to find this rock.
Distance of that spell.
And what's the range of locate creature?
It's like 1,000 feet. Which is not that. Wait,
That's
I
not
didn't
very
mean,
far
like-
at all.
no, you're right.
Mountain Peaks, what, 10,000 almost?
Hey guys,
yeah,
I
you're right. That isn't gonna work.
idea.
What's your
Let's
idea?
go on the road to the mountain.
Is that how you found the rock last time?
No, actually, I ran through the woods until I reached a mountain because I knew it was going to be a high point that I could use. I'm saying there's a road that goes near it. We could just go on the road to get near the mountain, and then from there, go to the
That's
mountain.
easy.
Plus, it will give us the convenient way to survey our area.
Yeah.
From a viewpoint of somebody who cannot fly or alter the shape of the, weave with their thoughts. So what, like 99% of the world's population?
Oh. Our first plan of action is to go to the area?
Fix
Yes.
it.
Gilbert
Alright.
shall lead the party out along the road on the way to the mountain.
Okay. So you guys start heading along the road. Let's see. On foot, that would be like a 3-day journey to the mountain. So you
Yeah.
kinda go along.
Can wait, Minecraft this?
Well, I think we're doing this to get a lay of the land here.
Yeah.
Like my idea is we follow the road up to where it intersects with the river, and then we follow the river to the mountain.
Yep. It takes about 3 days, but you do eventually end up kind of in the forest, seeing this mountain spanning before you.
Oh, this is a little bit random, but I wanted to ask it before I forget. Under
Uh-huh.
the mines of Guthrum.
Okay.
What size structure would that classify as?
That was a large castle.
Okay. Good to know.
All right, but
All
yeah,
right.
you guys are at the base of this mountain. It's a nice clear day. You kind of got like that pine fresh, really it's more of an oak fresh, I guess, smell in the air from the forest. The river's just kind of burbling by you as you stand there. So what do you do?
Well, should probably, now that we're at the mountain, I'm going to ritual cast Commune with Nature, which lets me ask all of those questions that everyone is so fond of.
Ah, yes. Yes. The please start pulling shit out of your ass questions, okay?
Yep. Well, the one thing I actually want to use it for is to try and find where the rock might be located. That isn't like specifically one of the questions because rocks are not an animal, at least not like mechanically.
Right. Let's see. 3 miles. Okay, so about 15,000 feet. So yeah, you can tell that there are 3 like I wouldn't call them structures. There are 3 formations on the side of the mountain that are potential nesting sites for a rock. They're flat and large and high enough that a rock might be using it.
Alright, well, as for the other 2, just to put all of our minds at ease, I'd like to know about influence from any other planes, if there's that here.
Within 3 miles. Nope.
And then finally, buildings.
No.
Alright, well, that's it then. Alright, well, I have an idea of where the rock might be found.
Excellent.
Now, how to go about taming a rock? As long as we're asking Under to pull shit out of his ass here, like, how much exactly might I know about a rock, and like what kind of behaviors they have that I would want to exploit in order to tame one?
So, well, I would say go ahead and make an animal handling check to see what you know about rocks.
Sure thing.
I'll guidance you if you're not going to do the thing.
Thank you for not making it nature.
It would normally be nature, but this is more like knowledge about what you could use to tame a rock. So you don't need general background. You're asking a specific thing. So you know what? They tend to be solitary and territorial. The few times that they get together, they do so generally only for the purposes of mating, and then they leave. They tend to establish like hunting grounds for themselves that they don't like. They just tend to keep going back to the same area. They're not a migratory species, and that they tend to avoid hunting like swift and small animals, and they just tend to avoid human settlements simply because it's more hassle than it's worth. They can usually just find like something bigger, whether it's a giant like a whale or an elephant that they could attack instead.
Right. That's scary to think about, like a whale just getting swooped up by a huge ass bird.
200-foot wingspan.
Yeah, that's fucking enormous.
It's What's the wingspan of a 747?
Uh, 224 feet and 5 inches.
So yeah, it's about the size of a 747.
Damn. Well, the fact that they're solitary is not good because it means that they don't have like a pack structure that I can put myself at the top of, because that's how you normally domesticate animals.
Yeah, yeah. However, you could still attempt to like bribe it with offerings of food to like to ingratiate yourself with it. Ideally.
That's not a bad idea. I'd probably want to be alone for this because having the rest of the party around is probably going to make it feel uneasy.
So, for reference, that's a 747. It's a little bit larger than what a rock would be.
Yeah.
Those are people on the ground.
Well, yeah, but you did say they tend to avoid humans.
They tend to avoid human settlements because, frankly, attacking structures is a pain in the ass. Rocks are somewhat lazy. They go for the easy meals.
Right.
They don't have
Naked paladin.
Well, they're an animal. They don't have a need to establish dominance over an area the way a dragon would. They're not political like that.
Well, what I'm thinking now is I hunt down some kind of big animal that a rock might want to eat and just start like presenting it with gifts.
All right. You'd probably have to do this over the course of several days and weeks to really earn its trust.
Yeah.
We got downtime.
Yeah, but you
We do
guys
have
have downtime. So you can spend your downtime basically taming the rock. There will just be some rolls to make sure that nothing bad happens.
Do you
Sure.
think having it condone your presence will allow us and perhaps refugees to come in?
Yeah, well, the idea is that I would want to do this, like, as a human to increase its trust of humans. There's also something else I want to do, but I have to tame it first.
And of course, we'd be setting up our base not inside of its hunting grounds.
Well, the end goal of this is to have the rock, like, move in and work as our security guard.
And that works too. To be honest, even like if it did accidentally eat somebody, as long as there's a hand or like a skull left in the stool,
They
we'll be
probably
able
had it coming. Shouldn't have bothered the giant bird.
to be fair, that thing did try to eat me because I was passing through.
Yeah, you probably deserved it.
Oh, to be fair, you looked like an easy meal.
Yeah, there you go.
I was naked, yes.
Alright, well, that's what I'm going to be doing
Okay.
over the few days.
Yeah, but you guys were able to at least like see the mountain and survey the general terrain. I'll leave that up to you guys when you draw the map of your area, of your base, to kind of define the terrain itself.
Yeah.
I don't have any fixed terrain for this mountain, so it can be whatever you guys want it to be.
Yeah, this feels like a what's everybody else doing right now moment.
It is. So what is everyone else doing during your downtime?
How much downtime do we have?
Well, that's rather up to you. Like, how long are you staying in town before you decide to go off and do something like kill a dragon?
I myself have a bucket list. Some of things I wanted to actually share, Lieutenant, the spells that I got from that Pejima fella. So that's something that he might want to be interested in. I myself do want to use this manual of iron golems, but I want to see about my abilities to perhaps merge this with the robot. I want to see if I could maybe imbue the properties of an iron golem to the robot.
Um, maybe.
To give you some context, this would take 100,000 gold pieces and 120 days.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's actually a sizable portion of our money.
We hire like other artisans to live here with at at our base, like armorers and weaponsmiths and stuff like that.
I mean,
Not just us.
so that's actually part of the thing. Like that would get into the staffing thing that if we had staffing, Gilbert would be doing. But the idea that I have for that is instead of necessarily getting living people from Port Hamar, we can do that eventually. Is instead to use true polymorph in order to basically create whatever kind of entity we need at CR 9 or below. And then through the use of good socialization and training, basically create our own, custom henchmen. And then eventually start phasing in like actual living people.
Okay, making polymorph henchmen is a good idea, but that still doesn't give us the artisans we need, and the experts we need to make stuff.
I mean,
Some experts? Question mark?
see, we could start teaching the artificial henchmen we create basic skills. I believe both Dean and the lieutenant are skilled in a number of different tools. Each one of them.
The reason I'm asking is because I want to make more arrows and different types of arrows, and the only one right now that can do that is Dean. And with Dean busy working on his robot, I wanted to get another artisan in there to get with me to make arrows and crossbow bolts, multiple different styles. I've got all that wyvern poison. I've got.
At that point, it sounds like you'd have to be doing it in town. Otherwise, we need to bring a person and their equipment out to a site that hasn't been constructed.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Once we get the site up and running, where we can put people in there, I think we should bring our own artisans. We should bring our own experts.
I got Comcasted. What happened?
Hired from
so far,
Hamor. We hired Port Hamor.
In terms of big stuff that's occurring, we're gonna revive Nala.
We haven't done it yet.
Basil is currently in the process of, for our purposes, taming or domesticating a rock that lives at the nearby mountain, and because Lord Commander Odwick didn't really have a way to reward us this time for saving the town's ass a third time. Instead, we've gotten him to recognize a territorial claim, and we're going to be constructing a mountain fastest.
Gave us
a layer. We've reached the level where we don't go into other people's dungeons; we make them come into ours.
We could have the rock set up above everything. The mountain.
That's sort of the idea.
Yeah,
exactly. It's literally our eyes in the sky.
We'll have to build a way up to its nest for the one that befriends it. Pete.
Basil.
Yeah. I wouldn't really need a way up there. I can just fly up there.
Oh, okay. Well, still, it'd be better to do it from the inside. That way you could come up to it while it's not, and warn it if things come in or find out what's going on and shit like that. I like to do things inside because arrows.
I want my
Guys.
characters.
The more stuff we put
to-
inside, like training and stuff, the less likely of flying arrows.
Have
Yeah, a lot of that's going to take a while, though. Like, we'll have to wait a long time before we can start on that.
have we reached the point where we're the big bad of somebody else's campaign?
Gilbert is the big bad of this campaign. I don't know what you're talking about other campaigns. I mean,
Nonsense. We saved this town several times. There's no bad men here.
They will have-
I am
so
genuinely
are-
confused how Gilbert's the big bad. Like, that does not make sense.
once we get our fortress up and running, then we will start consolidating the lands around it to serve us. And we will eventually spread out more and more. And soon Port Hamor will be just a sublet of us.
No,
They will serve
no.
us.
Were my
Port
motivations
Hamor.
really that transparent? Okay.
Port
mean, yeah.
Hamor is a valuable ally. They would make a poor servant.
They say valuable allies are servants that haven't been broken yet. It's all it is. It's just semantic.
They keep their autonomy and their independence. As long as they're in our good graces and they're in ours.
Exactly.
We're not going to subjugate our own home.
Exactly. We're just going to utterly eclipse them. It's a difference between de jure and de facto.
Gilbert, we're going to surpass them. Eclipse them makes it sound evil and sinister.
It is evil and sinister. We
It's
will
not
eventually
evil and
rule the world.
We're not going to rule the world. We might like run the continent, but we're not going to rule the world.
I mean, a continent's a big place. That's real long-term thinking.
I mean, we've got clones. We've got.
I
time.
wonder, when did Gilbert become Imperial? That's what I'm wondering.
Gilbert doesn't think himself a god?
No, but you want to rule the whole world.
The Conqueror is like the
Yep,
Highlander.
that's
There can only be one, and when you kill the previous one, you take their title.
You're putting ideas out there that I have never spoken.
You don't have to. Your character, the way your character is acting, speaks volumes.
What, that I want to build a secret mountain lair that's able to refuge
You
the
are a
people
lawful
more
good
in the
paladin
event
that
of
sold out.
catastrophe?
You are a lawful good paladin that sold your soul to become a Death Knight. If that is not on the path of destruction, I do not know what is. When a lawful good paladin sells their soul to become a Death Knight, that is evil. Evil! And there's no way around it. You can't sugarcoat that, Gilbert. Everything you've done, you chose to do. You chose to become a Death Knight.
Rugs? I mean, he saved a lot of people in the process of
Yeah.
selling his soul.
Yeah, I would just like to cite the track record and move on.
You can't say, I did it for the people. I only became evil for the people to protect the people. That don't fly. No. That dog don't hunt.
I mean, I'll argue this all night, but we have a session to play. So, Sleuth, and basically we're thinking underground mountain fastest. Pete's currently attempted to domesticate or tame at least a rock for our, his own security. We're going to have an extended period of downtime. Micmic's thinking spending 100,000 gold pieces to make an iron golem, and as far as I can think, something that would be rather handy to have is if both the lieutenant and Nala are able to print off a couple of true polymorph creatures. Gilbert can start with the training process and integrating them into a hierarchy.
kind of true polymorph creatures are you thinking?
So just be sure. True polymorph converts it into the stat block. Like if you turn a rock into a wizard, does it get wizard powers?
You get their stat block, not their spell casting. From my
Right. You
understanding.
being the player, what about if you do it to a rock? Not like a creature rock, but like a boulder or a tree.
Under? Under?
Sorry, yeah, I was typing out something for McMick's question. What was your question?
If we take like a tree and true polymorph it into some kind of mage, since it's an object being turned into a creature, not a creature turned into a creature, would it get the mage's spellcasting?
It would have the ability to cast spells.
They would have to learn them first, or
Yeah, it wouldn't really know any spells. You would be able to teach it, and it would need to prepare them if it's a wizard.
Hey Spectre,
But in
how
terms of
does
simply forming, the weave into spells, yes, it would gain that ability.
Hey Spectre, how does a regiment of what the lieutenant is sound?
Sounds good.
A whole bunch of little mini lieutenants that are capable of, handling the grunt work of that kind of spellcasting.
The privates.
Oh shit, we can literally call them privates, yeah. Private 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't even give them names. The CR limit is 9, right?
yes, CR limit is 9.
Is there a limit to creature type?
No.
Okay, I I don't know if it needs to be done tonight like a dungeon, but I can come up with a list of entities we can create.
Necromancers are CR9.
So are champion fighters, or the champion stat block. Solid fighter choice too. There's a boatload of goblins that make pretty good choices.
We can use those for troops. We can make a couple of rocks into those.
Just be careful and note the last sentence of object into creature from True Polymorph.
Yeah, if we're treating them terribly, they're not going to be our friend. They are autonomous.
I'm aware. That's why we're not going to treat them terribly.
I mean, maybe you won't, but there's no guarantees for the rest of the party.
Well, that's
I won't treat them nobody no bad.
That's also the other reason I suggested that once they're produced, Gilbert handle the training, because he has no particular skill set outside of military. Gilbert would be able to, organize them, integrate them, and basically form our own military units. If I'm making sense here. Meanwhile, the spellcasters can be handled by our casters.
Okay.
Again. And you wonder why I assume Gilbert's set for world domination. He's building his own army now.
Yeah, to protect Port Hamor. Do you see how often that place gets faced with fucking apocalypses? It needs manpower.
Isn't it our fault they keep facing different apocalypses, though?
The Venetian invasion was not our fault.
The Venetians were not our fault. The demons were not our fault. Kilvar was planning that before we even arrived.
The demon invasion wasn't entirely our fault. We
opened the portal. We opened the portal.
No, we
did
didn't.
not open the portal.
Mister,
We did not.
we never opened a portal. We opened no portals and let no demons out.
We may have been able to not slow it down. We may have been able to stop the cult earlier, but we didn't have the knowledge of how to do it in a timely manner.
Precisely.
So,
So
while
the-
it's possible, we didn't know a better solution. So there wasn't really any way we could do much.
As for the Assassins Guild, they were already coming back on their own. The Undead showed up of their own accord. We have no reason to believe that we actually triggered that. To be honest, the only apocalypse that actually hit Port Hamor that was the fault of a party member was the demons, and that was War's fault.
Which demons?
That wasn't the demons,
The
the
Mecha Balors.
That was war.
Oh,
But
yeah.
didn't back at the beginning, didn't we go into a portal and go down and there was a demon downstairs and we all ran from the demon? And didn't we do that way back at the beginning of the game? Way back at the beginning of the session?
Do you mean like level 3 beginning of the game?
Yeah, it was early. It was real early. We went down the stairs and we seen this large demon. So instead of fighting it, we ran and then we kept running and just left it.
I think you're thinking of the Plane of Fire portal that we got the, I think it's called Tinder Strike Dagger from.
Yeah, that was back in Elcott, and we didn't run, we actually were routed.
Yeah,
Like we killed all the enemies, but we were physically routed. Our party was split.
we were routed, and
besides-
that problem resolved itself with the return of Pejima.
Did we cause
Which
that too?
we actually had no way of knowing that that would be what triggered it, and it was a culmination of events that caused his return, not something that was exclusively our fault. That being said, none of this is relevant to what we're doing.
Just going, yeah, we
So,
really didn't tell
downtime plans. Instead of recapping history, let's go with downtime plans, like what the original
So-
topic was.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
going to start
I'm just
by
saying.
getting Gilbert some champions to train, and we'll see if they're cooperative. If we can get a
Well,
few champions,
you're. Oh, did you guys actually resurrect Nala? You never actually said.
Not
you
yet.
did.
He's still in a
Really?
bag.
When they can do
Somebody
that
wish her back
We-
already.
not done
That's why I
yet.
said we should have handled it at the start of the session.
We did not do it. We was talking about going to get the
Well, we
rock.
couldn't because the lieutenant
Never
wasn't
done
here.
Yeah, we've
Pretty
never
sure
done
we
it.
can revive people without them being present. Can't we, Under?
Not using Revivify, yes, but the other resurrection stuff all requires their consent.
Yep, that was why.
Part of the spell requires them to be willing to come back, so they have to be here.
Ah.
He's not willing to come back.
if the soul is able to, I am willing to come back.
Alright, I think we bring Nala back then.
Lieutenant here.
Okay. I mean, yes, I hear you, Spectre.
Yeah, it's a good thing the lieutenant was here. We would have had to resort to other means otherwise.
I don't think that would be really appreciated. Well,
Are
let's
you sure?
reengage Nala. Watch as you break her build.
Yeah, you're right. That was really more intended for Gilbert.
I mean, my build is not reliant upon
Jackass.
being a Yuan-Ti.
Plus 2
You've
charisma.
already had your species changed once. What's the second time?
Exactly. Besides, Gilbert has. If I do get reincarnated into something that just flat out doesn't work as a bard, it would be a little gimmicky, but I could get to level 19, put an ASI into charisma, and then just keep reincarnating until I get to a charisma +2 race.
It's going to get expensive.
That's another reason, but money's not an issue anymore. But yeah, I'd be fine with races that are Yuan-Ti.
Right, but the lieutenant can just use Wish to cast, Resurrection on one of the, several travel days between Port Hamor and Mount whatever.
Yep. Of course, I'll have to save it for when
Mountain
the lieutenant dies.
Let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff in place for that eventuality. so it should not be an issue.
Or at least 17 contingency plans that I can think of, which means there's probably closer to 28 or 50.
Okay, so with the downtime available, like how long are we spending?
That's entirely up to you guys how long you spend in town. What? It's assumed at this point that you guys drew up some plans, gave it to the Masons Guild, and they're working, and they're going to start doing it now. So any time you spend during this downtime will count towards that construction time.
Okay.
How long is the construction time?
Depends on how big you build. For a small castle, it is 400 days.
So, a long time.
Yes.
Now would be an excellent time for you to pick up heavy armor proficiency, maybe shield proficiency. I know you're definitely strong enough to be able to handle it.
Yeah, but it would have to be some majestic as fuck heavy armor.
Well, yeah, we can fabricate it.
Well,
We have access
I'm going
to the things.
fabricate it.
Well, if you don't got smith proficiency, I do. I actually have
I-
expertise.
I have proficiency in fabricate. Alright, so what's the plan then? We get Gilbert started on training.
I mean, the entities in question don't even need to be like champions, just like as many entities as you guys want to produce that I could create a small class of trainees who we can eventually use to assist in training more artificially created creatures. Am I making sense?
Yeah. So what I want to do is relatively straightforward. There is the matter of the money, though. I got I got about 18% of the costs covered myself, but the rest, that's a pretty steep deal. Need help with.
Do you guys have the account information for that massive pile of treasure we put in the demiplane?
I don't. No.
Did anybody write that down?
I'm sure it's down in somewhere. I don't.
Boy,
know.
I hope someone wrote that down, because otherwise you guys just basically lost all that treasure. It's a demiplane somewhere and you forgot which one.
I think Lieutenant should have it.
I don't have any lists at all.
Let's see. I
Give me a
found it on the 1st of August before you freak out. Those are the funds of the treasury.
This is good.
Yeah, so in order to improve the robot I have, it would take 100k. I have 18k on me.
Does the spell gate need the coordinates for that demiplane? Or do I just have to specify that demiplane that we've been keeping the treasure in?
Demiplane cash money.
Well, you'd have to have a precise location to place it. It would be, you'd have to give it more than just that demiplane where we put all of our treasure. You'd have to know like exactly what plane and like you have to know the plane and where to put the gate in it.
Okay.
Given how often you guys have opened up a demiplane spell and like the portal and then just shoveled a bunch of shit in there, you've probably seen the demiplane, so you would know it well enough to cascade into it.
Well, if that works, that'll take a 9th level spell slot, but it's access. I really do need to keep better notes. Gilbert, I thought you were in charge of bookkeeping. I'm blaming this on you, because otherwise it would be my fault, and I don't want that.
I literally have an entire thing here full up of like Monday night notes. It's a little hard to keep track of which stuff I had where, especially with school starting. Workplace is a little bit of a mess right now.
Yeah, but if it's not your fault, then it's probably my fault, and I don't like that.
Besides, I'm not the one whose demiplane is being used.
I can't make demiplanes. Well, I can make some magnificent mansion, but
Okay, whatever. Hold on. I'll start running the account stuff. Give me a second. If I'm gonna do this though, guys, I swear to God, keep me informed on your expenditures. Like PM it to me when you do it. That way I have a, physical copy there of a receipt.
well, sort
One
of
moment.
physical.
If ever there was a use for blockchain. But I hope one of you guys wrote it down because I literally don't know what you guys have shoved in that demiplane. I did
It's
not
right
keep
there.
track
Oh,
of
yeah,
your own inventory.
posted
It's right there. I posted it.
All right. That's it? That's all that's in there? Okay. Could have sworn you guys had shoved a whole bunch of shit in there. Like random ass shit, too.
Oh yeah, there's the entire library of Qualish, all of his Goblin Sabaton lyric books.
Oh yeah, we did
This
dump a
week-
bunch of books in there.
This was the Dragon Horde.
We could also go to the Abyss Library, couldn't we?
I wonder what the state of that library is right now.
In chaos, probably. It's the Abyss. Actually, it might not even be in the Abyss anymore. It didn't come from the Abyss.
Are you talking about that library with the roach in it with like several disintegration rays occurred?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah. That's an interesting place.
You know what we need is we need an invisible butler.
You mean like an unseen servant but permanent?
No, I'm talking about the windy man, the invisible windy man who fucks your shit up.
Oh God.
Yeah, I
That
want me
guy.
one of those.
You know what I'd like to learn how to do? Be able to imbue the properties of the stonework with the properties of that bunker and the primacy with those mecha balors. That would be very secure. Speaking of, that is another thing I would like in a bucket list to do. Be able to grab those blueprints and such, given permission. Perhaps maybe we can reverse engineer their research, improve some of our own stuff that's coming into being by True Polymorph.
Oh, okay.
I-
Hold up.
We still
Let's-
have the bodies of one of the Mecha Balors, right?
Still got a leg. I have a leg. It's 50 pounds.
We fought 2 of them in Port Hamor. What happened to those?
They explode when they
Exploded.
die. It's their death effect.
Okay, let's just do at least some basic accounting of days. So, Mick, how long does your thing take?
At least 120 days, uninterrupted.
And under. Let's assume we're going with a small castle in terms of size. That's 400 days.
Yes.
How long is a large castle?
For
1200?
notes. Yeah.
Shit. It's like 5 years almost, 4.5.
I mean, I know there's at least some stuff we could probably help expedite with the powers of, like, Lieutenant and Nala and Basil, but that would take away some from their downtime.
I mean, I don't have 4.5 years of downtime unless you want an actual army.
This does get into some fun accounting where it's like, but hold on, Pete. Basil has the ability to like make ground fertile and like arable and all that good shit.
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh God,
What?
my mind is now full of empire management, basically.
No, we don't need to do that. We're just making a
So
house.
all of us are going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons, except Gilbert, who's going to be playing Age of Empires 2.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, let me put it this way. If Nala and the lieutenant each produced a single artificial person every day, by the time we are done building this keep, I could have 800 people I'm training. At that point, it'd be a little hard to manage, but you get where I'm going with this, right? Oh, wait. Gilbert doesn't need to sleep. We can have them in shifts.
Are you comfortable with that? Living
What,
and
Gilbert?
breathing, training soldiers day by day? Maybe a couple of days off here and there, but even then, I've done a couple of all-nighters before. Quite. Oh, then again, I forget your condition.
Right.
I mean,
My point here is, though, with enough expenditure of time, we can literally build a settlement. Not just the keep.
we
Given
can
the
put something on a map.
under, how big is that river nearby? The one that goes through that local grasslands?
It's a medium-sized river, maybe 50 feet across.
All right. You guys see the grasslands right to the southeast tile of Mount Amaz? We could probably convert that and also the forest area right by that intersection into arable land, like right along the river.
That makes sense. That would be
We can-
convenient.
We would be able to resettle probably people from Portimore into this region along with printing extra workforce.
Good idea.
That wasn't quite my idea for this.
What were you thinking?
Well, I think they should stay in Portimore. This was just going to be like a base. We're not just making a whole ass town here.
I mean, why not?
Because we already have a town. Why not just let the town get bigger? How is decentralizing the population going to make it easier to protect? This seems kind of counterintuitive.
That's exactly why it makes it easier to protect.
Well, they're already
Given
in
the-
Portimore, though.
Given the kind of opposition we face, decentralization would probably be helpful because it means we can no longer lose the entire population to a single devastating hit.
I mean, we're never going to lose the whole population, just like the whole population of Portimore.
Venusian invasion, demon invasion.
This is one of those things where I'm suggesting we do it because we will hopefully, by producing a couple of outlying towns in this region, be able to create both a buffer state against further colonization, but also prevent the loss of the only friendly settlement on the continent to what will inevitably end up happening again.
In the Venusian invasion, it took a matter of hours for Odwick to lose
But
all
didn't
of
they-
its
but
influence over
didn't-
the entire populace of Port Hamlet.
Didn't Odwick tell us that if our compound was built, that if Port Hamor comes under attack, we're going to be shuttling people to us to hide? So don't the place need to be big enough to hide massive amounts of people?
Also, he didn't say that. I suggested it.
Yeah, I don't even think that was discussed inside.
Didn't he say something along those lines, Under?
Gilbert did.
No, Gilbert did.
I knew he said that. Somebody said something about in case it's.
Besides, if he was going to ship somebody out of Port Hamor, he would just send you all the useless nobles.
Yeah, Gilbert's whole shtick has been
That wouldn't be
make sure
treating
the
us
survival of
like
Port
Port
Hamar.
Hamor.
And if
That
that
would be-
means reinforcing the surrounding territories with smaller townships, that's fine by him.
That's probably way out of war's depth.
So,
I mean, if he can't shoot it or kill it, he pretty much ain't got no use for it.
so what are we looking at? We're looking at a keep in the mountains, fortifications for some outlying towns that we're also going to have to build, and training a defensive force for it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Even if it's not a full-size town, at least a small workforce that would be able to sustain the keep and maintain its population. That way, we are not dependent on constantly going to Port Hamor for additional, just the daily groceries, because it's a 3-day trip. No one wants to go 3 days for groceries.
Yeah.
It would also mean that we don't need to constantly have the party, handling rapid, recovery of materials.
Yeah, we are going to want some sort of income generation, if not in the mountains and nearby.
Like I said, it doesn't need to be massive, but Under what was the population size of Casson?
A few dozen.
Yeah, it was less than 100.
Exactly. Something like that. Less than 100 people, just enough to be able to make sure that the base runs smoothly.
That's not a town. That's a hamlet.
27
Maybe a
people.
small village.
Yes, it was a hamlet with 27 people before you killed everyone.
This is true. Still feel bad about that.
Well, anyways.
Oh, I will mention, since we're talking about troops and stuff and garrisons, I do, when I'm done with the Golem project of mine, I can teach us a few skilled artisans with alchemy, give us some maybe explosive bolt setup, explosions, and poisons as well. I'd be happy to help with that.
Did we ever check in on Northport?
No, we didn't.
Who wants to take a road trip? Well,
I'd be happy
trip.
to.
Well, there's still the unanswered question of, if you are leaving Port Hamor, how long have you guys spent here? How much downtime are you taking?
I'm not taking any downtime until I know what we're doing first.
Well, I'm taking
already
the amount of
expressed what I'd like to do.
I'm taking the amount of downtime that I need to tame this rock.
All right. So we have one fixed period of downtime. My downtime is subject to the production of henchmen.
My downtime is spellcasting, which takes a few minutes a day.
Do you also want to help with training?
Are we gonna have any mages at the start?
Fuck yeah, sure, why not?
All right, I will help
training.
with training then.
War is very good with a bow. He can train.
Lieutenant, do you want to get in on the henchman production and training?
I suppose I could contribute resources to that.
All right. So let's see. We have 2 people with military experience, a bard, all producing and training. What do you guys think? We should produce a small number of goons, maybe like
People. You
maybe
have
like a
some
dozen, 18. Sorry, what, Spectre?
Technically 3 people. You have a simulacrum to work with as well.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so we have 3 military people, 1 bard, 4 people total. What, maybe a batch size of 24 assorted henchmen?
What are we going to keep the henchmen around with? Are we going to pay them?
I was thinking like direct integration into the into our
Society, okay.
organizational structure.
Okay.
Right, but once they're permanent, they are no longer under your direct control. So why wouldn't they just wander off? Do their own thing?
Employment.
So you will be paying them.
We're gonna have to make a charter for them too, aren't we? In the contracts.
Yep.
I mean, what I'm getting at here is I need to know what incentive you're giving them to stay.
Actually, this is a good point. So if we spawn a fully fledged adult, they basically start with no memories and probably no effective personality than what they're exposed to, but with all the basic world stuff of an adult.
Not the world stuff. No, they wouldn't know history or politics or anything like that. They're functional. They know how to to walk, how to talk, how to do basic tasks, things like that.
Right.
If you're spawning people that are like champions and stuff, they know how to fight.
Okay, so they're spawning like a group of adventurers at the beginning of a campaign.
Right. What they have their general skills of the stat block that you're making them. What they lack is specific knowledge, and this includes knowledge of locate maps, areas, things like that. They don't have any knowledge of who's who. They don't have specific spells.
Maybe we should set up like a school for them.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
We can make all of them like grow faster and learn faster, except for one, and then Lieutenant can raise that one as his son.
God, call out what I'm doing, why don't you?
One unaltered clone for my own to take as my son.
This is another good idea.
I'm gonna name one of our champions Rex and adopt him.
Are we able
Cody?
to more
I'm gonna go
kids?
with Cody.
What?
Are we able to polymorph like rocks into children?
Don't do that.
Dude, children are like a CR0. Do you know how easy it is to beat them?
No,
I mean,
exactly. We can train them from a young age as well. Get a mixture of age ranges in there. That way, varying degrees of loyalty and exposure.
Actually, why don't we get a family structure going for these people with true polymorphing?
That's a good point. That's a good
Are you
point.
suggesting
That
we
would give them
polymorph
incentive
rocks?
to get domesticated.
Are you suggesting we true polymorph rocks into humanoid children so we can teach them better, teach them human skills, and then inspire loyalty in them, and then untrue polymorph them back into rocks, and we will have essentially a super soldier?
Okay, so big brain time here. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're making an Adam and Eve. That's the shit that we're doing.
Yes.
Minus the snake. So I propose we call this project the Gilbert and Nala Project.
Gilbert is a snake.
And let's see, get people highly skilled and such, and give them incentives to stay in a relatively defensible, fortifiable location. Perhaps give them a permission to make families and such as they will. And while doing all this, they learn new skills. They learn about the world. Keeps them nice and I don't want to say complacent, but content.
Exactly. We spawn some fully grown ones for the purposes of having extra goons, but then we also start spawning younger ones, and then also, if they're able to reproduce successfully, going with that too.
I don't
that
see the
is one
point in
thing I
making them
wanted-
children, though. Like, why would you do that?
Well, for the purposes of specifically raising them from childhood, like we're talking like raising from infant to adulthood.
Well, you're creating adults with no memories, so mentally they're basically already children. I don't think making them physically children is going to help. Like, do you really want these people to be going through puberty while you're trying to teach them shit?
So one of the things
Exactly, but we also don't want people with like fully grown muscles and capabilities being the only people we're training when they have the emotions of children. Like, you see what happens with chimps, right?
I guess.
One of the
mental
problems
age
too is
girl
that
with the muscle of an adult man.
one of the problems is that it is a physical change
Why don't
that
we
makes
just
it
ask for
more
volunteers
difficult
for
for
Fort
adults
Hamor?
to learn than for children.
Instead of turning rocks into people, why don't we just see if anybody wants to come from Port Hamor and the surrounding area?
Yeah, honestly, I think we'd be better off just hiring people.
I mean, yeah, we can do that too. The point is to also get our own group of custom-made loyal drones.
But will that create jobs, Gilbert?
It
Yes.
will create security jobs. Yes.
Let me put it this way.
Gilbert wants to outsource your job to a rock person. We need
Well-
protection policy.
No. Gilbert's plan here is to basically use console commands to artificially increase both territory, resource availability, and then produce more people to fill those jobs.
Yeah. So here's the thing:
Damn,
if we have more
taking all our
soldiers,
jobs.
if we have more soldiers that we can make out of trees and rocks, then that will let us control more land, so we can have more farms, we can have more mines, we can have more smiths, we can have trading routes that go farther. It will cut down the toll of the existing security costs on human life, and it will increase the jobs that already exist for people who might not have jobs right now. There will be more land to work, and there will be more mines to work in.
I love how this went from a D&D session to let's plan a nation.
Yeah,
We're level 18. That just kind of happens.
I think this is getting out of scope here. I don't know if we should be doing that.
I mean, this kind of is perfectly in scope for a party of mages at level 18.
I mean, yes, it is out of scope. I mean, to a degree. Like, we wouldn't be able to do it all efficiently session-wise, but if we can get the start of it, by the time we have at least the layer built, we'd at least have some of the basics, I think.
By the time we reach 20, we should have enough to, be gods or rule the kingdoms.
Yeah, even level 20 wouldn't be quite godhood. Gods could still smack you around quite easily. But But ruling large chunks of land, that's easily doable.
Well, level 17
Wish
is enough to
isn't the
play God, apparently.
Yeah, Wish isn't the strongest spell in D&D. It's the strongest spell that mortals can cast in D&D. There is that stipulation of the
Okay, the 10th tier
difference in ability
spells.
between.
The 10th tier spells you just stay away from. Those things are.
I would argue that those are no more dangerous in a mortal's hands than in the deities.
Oh well, yeah, but mortals
Specifically
aren't allowed to
because
cast those. Mortals can't cast higher.
mortals
10th and
aren't
above
capable of casting them. It's not a thing of they're not allowed to.
That's true too. They don't have the power.
Guys?
Now you've gone off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back. What happened?
Okay. So, on the important thing of time allotment. So, during the 400 days of construction, we know that Basil is spending some of that attempting to, get in the good graces of the rock. Mick plans to spend some of that time constructing, 120 days of that constructing an iron golem. So we have 400 days minimum to work with here. My question is, for those of us, and if I'm misunderstanding, please correct me, Gilbert, Nala, Lieutenant, and Second Lieutenant are producing and training a workforce. So my question is, how many of those guys do we produce? That way we know how many days that we have of training.
We should start small, because we don't know how this is going to quite turn out. I'm thinking under 50 people.
That's my thoughts as well. Spectre, Nala, you guys are going to be the ones who are also training, as well as the ones expending spell slots for production. What do you guys think? This is,
I think we start with like 14 people, give it 1 week of production, get them through training, see if they stick around and are interested in whatever offer we have. And if they are interested and they want to stick around, then we go on to like the mages, who are probably a lot more dangerous.
Makes sense.
But we use the fighters as a sort of trial run, see if our plan is actually going to be feasible and not just, hey, we have this idea and it's not going to work, but now we've got 50 soldiers and another 100 mages running around who don't like us anymore.
Well, exactly. We'd want to keep the mage percentage lower than the fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, so start with like a batch of 24 fighters, give that a little bit, and then move on to a larger group.
Don't make more than we can control ourselves.
Well, exactly. We don't want to
stick with
overstretch.
like 14. Just 1 week between the two of us of troop production. Then we'd also need iron to supply them.
We could probably acquire some of this from Portimore if needed.
Yeah.
Under the surrounding wilderness, is it feasible that we would be able to create small training parties and send them out into various areas?
Yes, you could pay people to go off and do things.
Makes sense to me.
Well, how's the rock taming going?
Alright, so the rock taming, I'm thinking, will just be a series of animal handling checks.
Yep.
And
I know the... Oh, go on.
Yeah, and so we'll just see how that goes and what the result is.
I know rocks are not beasts, but would speak with animals enable me to communicate with the rock?
Speak with beasts. Let me look that up real quick. You mean speak with animals?
Speak with animals. It does very specifically say beasts.
Yeah, so sort of. I mean, a rock is technically a monstrosity, but it's close enough to an animal that you can sort of communicate with it. It doesn't quite work, but you can definitely... It's definitely more communicative than not casting it.
Okay.
It's like trying to translate to German through Japanese. Google Translate.
Alright, so go ahead and make your first animal handling check then.
Okay. And these are over way too long of a time frame for me to, like, guidance myself or anything like that.
Correct.
Yeah, I figured.
What about enhanceability? That's an hour.
I think this is probably taking more than an hour.
Yeah, this is over months of work here.
Oh, months? Oh, okay.
The whole process is going
Oh,
to take
shit.
multiple months to. Domesticating a wild animal is not a simple task.
No.
Yeah,
It
especially
is
for
a
what we want to do.
significant- Yeah, it is a significant downtime investment. It will be less than 120 days, so I don't feel like figuring out exactly how many days, but it's definitely like multiple months.
Yeah. I don't even really need to fully domesticate it. I just need to, like, get it to trust me and let it be close to it.
That will take multiple months of work.
Yeah. Alright, not a bad roll.
Not a bad roll at all. And you do gain some trust with it. Go ahead and make another one. Yeah, you're starting to feel real good about this. Keep going.
Alright, some trouble here.
Yeah. Apparently you pissed it off somehow and it chased you away from the mountain for like a week.
Okay. Month 4?
Keep going.
You know, if you roll a 1, it's probably going to eat you.
Oh, I'm sure.
It'll try.
I mean, I'm not going to get eaten by a rock.
No, but it does continue to chase you away. It's still pissed off at you for whatever reason.
What did you call its mother?
I'm having like a whole arc over here while the rest of you were talking about like building a civilization.
Right, you guys are like making all these plans. He's having his training montage with the rock, which involves him being chased for 3 miles by a rock that's pissed off at him.
Like, this is Basil's solo episode where he like reconnects with nature.
Yeah.
And develops a relationship
man.
with an animal.
Yeah, there's like some Mozart in the background.
Yeah.
I like it.
In like 3 years, we're gonna find some Druid rock babies somewhere.
Oh. And this is where Aarakocras came from.
And Kenku. All right, yeah. It took you like actually took you like close to 130 days, but you were able to make it comfortable with your presence.
Okay.
You know, I could make shield guardians. They're only CR7.
I mean, hold on a second.
Are shield guardians constructs?
They are large constructs, unaligned.
It's going to be much more straightforward to keep.
Yeah, let's produce a small number of those too, just so we can see how constructs train.
There is something I also want to do now that I've gotten it to let me get close to it.
All right,
And
hold on, let me look up shield guardians real quick.
I'll be back in just a second.
The useful thing with them is we can use them as combat training for our shock troops because they regenerate. We just won't have them fight back, or we'll have them using practice weapons so that they're not going to accidentally decapitate our captain.
Okay. So each shield guardian has a control amulet that is unique to that shield guardian. And you need to be wearing that amulet to issue orders to it.
Do you make
Does
a
that
mega
come
amulet?
with the true polymorph, or would I have to true polymorph that separately?
It comes with it through True Polymorph. But it's more the case of eventually you're going to start looking like some like 90s rapper with all these necklaces on.
Well, once we get the entire thing up and running, we give the control amulets to some of our generals, captains, whatever ranks. We give them to
General
our
flavor.
trusted officers, so that they have a shield guardian or two that would be able to supplement their team.
I mean, yeah, that would work.
General Flava Flav.
We're essentially going to use them as like the IFVs of a mechanized infantry unit. At least that's my plan.
All right. So, Pete, what did you want to do with the rock?
Well, so Now, is this rock comfortable with me, like, getting close to it and, like, touching it and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, I want to cast a spell on it, but it's going to take 8 hours.
Okay. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, I am casting Awaken on the rock.
Oh, good God.
man. Wait, what?
Oh boy, you kicked the hornet's nest.
Sorry, what?
Dude, Pete just pulled a big brain move right here. Oh boy. Now
This
this
is
is
either-
going to be
This is either going to backfire horribly or be amazing.
All right, well, is it going to cost you 1,000
looking
gold?
for.
Yeah, well, I have the materials already. I
Oh,
bought them
okay.
a million years ago.
All right.
Pete
You're
is
getting a
awakened
big
a
awoken
a
rock.
rock.
I've awoken the rock.
Tarka must have an intelligence of 3 or lower.
Which a rock
It does
does.
have rock of 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a beast or a plant.
Oh.
Oh shit, you're right. It's not a valid target for that. Never mind.
There's a reason why it's a monstrosity. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, this would not work on it.
Alright, that's fine. I'll just keep chilling with this rock then, and I'll wait for them to finish building the base so that I can have it move in. Yeah, I forgot about that part of the spell.
Yeah, I think it's
Awaken mammoth.
specifically to prevent things like, you awakening rocks and Shoggoths and whatnot.
Yeah.
And iron golems.
Oh,
God,
Iron
really.
Golem.
No one wants Iron Giant movies going off in their D&D.
Oh man,
Superman.
that was a real bummer because Spectre and I had plans.
You stay. I go.
No following.
I love that film.
Where's the giant, Mansley? I want to watch that now.
Yeah.
It's not actually very good, but I still want to watch.
What do you mean? It's awesome.
It's
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 okay.
nostalgic.
I think we've
good,
gotten off
not-
topic again.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, so we
God,
already
it's
went through 120 days, right?
It has been like 130 days.
Well, I am going to need permission from you, Gilbert and Nala, to do this because I will need some financial assistance with this. And it's going to be pretty costly.
I'm not the treasurer, and I don't have enough out of pocket to really help. Not even to put a dent in that.
Hold on. How much does it cost?
100,000. I'm able to contribute 18,000.
And I have less than 1,000.
Well, what I'm saying is I'll need to dig into the treasury.
Right. I can't think
And
of
it will
any
be
other
there.
expenditure we'd be making. Like that we can't just artificially produce ourselves.
Well, you have to start paying your men.
Yeah, that's a good point. Under how do you classify the payment scheme? Wait, actually,
Are we paying them as skilled labor?
do we need to pay them if we indoctrinate them into a class?
I'm not going to indoctrinate our army. That never ends well.
What if we indoctrinate them
charismatic
on the
leader?
Communist Manifesto?
That is not among your skill sets.
Shit.
Is it among my skill set?
It actually would be among your skill set, Nala, but it's
Nala
not in
propag-
Gilbert's.
And I refuse to do it on principle because it never works.
Gilbert does not have the capability for revolution.
That's fair. That's fair. What would we have to be paying them under?
I'm checking. These are skilled hirelings.
Got like 2 gold a day.
Yes, 2 gold a day.
And unskilled is
2 silver a
5.
day.
damn skilled hirelings union. Driving up prices.
Yeah, but since you're training them, you're turning them into skilled hirelings. So you will need to pay them at the skilled hireling rate for soldiers. Like,
Wait.
literally, unskilled hirelings are literally like farmer peasant, like day laborers. They have no particular skills. If you want these to be men at arms, they are skilled hirelings.
I'm actually a little confused now. So if we spawn champion fighters, they have champion fighter stat blocks,
Uh-huh.
and they would be what without training?
In that case, they would
know how to
start
fight.
off as skilled hirelings. I thought I was talking about like take random human you make.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I was a little confused there. I'm like, wait, how is teaching how is teaching them discipline make them skilled? Okay, just a second.
How
So
many pounds
if
of steel am I able to take during these 120 days? From open market.
What was your question, Mick? I only heard the second part.
How many pounds of steel would I be able to take open market these 120 days that pass?
Well, aren't you spending 120 days of it working on your upgrades?
Yeah. I think I can spend 2 hours of sleep doing light activity. That would be, if at all possible, getting materials.
I think that's something I would probably have to do for you. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any way.
Getting steel is
Considered
right
light
now during the
activity.
middle of a war is not exactly a trivial task. Over 120 days, let me check. You could manage to get 83 pounds.
Oof. All right.
Not a lot of it's like good steel is not really being shipped to Port Hamor. That's what's being made locally.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So if there is,
So guys, oh sorry, Sleuth.
if there is an invasion in Port Hamor, how does Odwick intend to get his, or how do we intend for Odwick to get the people here instead of in Port Hamor? Do we have like a secured roadway? Do
We have a river.
underground passage? Do we have a boat and a helmsman and a navigator that can get them from? Well, probably don't need a helm or a navigator. but do we
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
boat
honestly,
that
the
can-
idea was we just fabricate boats and drift them downstream.
Well, I mean, if we can store our inactive characters, I know a ship captain, and he's got a boat.
He's not available.
Sleuth.
Somewhere in the slave cannibal
You
slave.
said you
What?
wanted to produce 14 initial goons.
Yes.
No, gosh,
Okay,
he's not available.
so
What?
if we did that, by the time the base is complete, it would expend 11,200 gold pieces. This raises another question. Under.
Mhm.
How does Odwick pay his men? If he's broke.
Okay.
Right now, he kind of isn't. He's paying
Thank
them
you,
with
Fred.
room and board for the most part, and IOUs.
Interesting.
A lot of them are
So basically, we
volunteers.
could
Of
strip most of his people.
you could probably entice a large portion of his force away with money. Yes, because a lot of them are simply volunteers who have volunteered to be men at arms, and right now they don't have to worry about like room and board, but they're doing it because otherwise there is no one to defend the town. They're more of a militia force at this point. The veterans, the actual professionals in that force, have been depleted.
All right. Okay. So given the fact that without a functioning, GDP, it would be difficult to sustain this number of skilled hirelings, at least until we got our own economy running.
So start with constructs.
Well, you have to, the Port Hamor economy is disrupted. It is not destroyed. They will eventually recover on their own.
No, he means his own economy.
Yeah. I mean the Datum Goof mercenary company thiefdom.
Yeah. And actually, over 120 days, by the end of that, he would be able to start paying people from taxes. It's only literally right now that they have no money.
Okay. I ask this mostly because I'm just curious, like how the money system works, because since I apparently cannot just have people raised on a like tribal clan system. Actually, is that something I'd be able to do? Kind of attempt through military train to, because the assignment of the value of gold is a social product rather than, you know, inherent to the material itself.
No,
is it
you're
not
incorrect.
possible that shit?
It is a fundamental. It is a fundamental part of this world that gold has value, just like diamonds do. It is part of the weave, and so it is innate. That's also why gold is like a universal currency in this world.
So it is not possible in any way to sever their perception of gold as wealth.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll have to entice them with something else. Although, Gilbert, there is that massive, like, triple war going on in the other continent.
That is where I was getting to on this, actually. Given how just 14 henchmen would cost us 11,200 gold by the end of this, something we could consider doing. I was originally thinking would be done later on in the process, but I suppose we can always start early. Under something similar to the CR9 champion fighter. How rare is that in natural human ranks?
That would be fairly rare. A champion fighter. If you think about like your old classical stories, like I'm talking like the Iliad, a champion would be equivalent to having Achilles. Like he's a literal champion.
Out of entire armies.
I do like your selection of source, because my plan was actually to name them after those champions.
Right.
Out of entire armies of several thousand people, we're talking like 10,
6.
maybe 20.
Yeah, at most. For something the size of an army. And by an army, I'm talking like 100,000 plus soldiers. You've got a dozen, maybe 2 champions.
So if we were to print out even like a platoon of these guys, that's a pretty powerful unit, like a platoon of champions.
Yeah, that would be, that would be it would be a medieval equivalent to like a special forces operation.
Hey guys, I think we found our moneymaker. Print out a few units of these things, train them, and then ship them off to a war zone for profit.
I can one-up you. It's going to take a little bit longer, but if we pair each champion with a mage ally and a shield golem and a dragon, we're going to have an airborne mechanized infantry unit.
I'm concerned about unveiling that right away. I feel like that's something that we prepare, but we don't just sell those. You know what I mean?
We only loan out our champions. Our mages we keep domestic. Organic raised.
Do we have a use for any of those?
We keep for us in Port Hamor. The shield golems keep for our office.
I can make this times however many days of downtime we have through an alchemy jug. Any suggestions on what to produce from that list?
Hey, Lizard. Hey, Lizard, are you going to be here for moving out tomorrow?
acid and oil are always going to be valuable assets to have.
I almost want to say oil. Like acid would definitely be handy, but like oil, and I think beer would be kind of useful given what we're training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, it would cut down on our expenditures.
Yeah, 4 gallons of beer for how many men?
14.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, that's like what, 1 beer apiece?
Look,
Bubblers.
look. One of the things I'm going to try to instill in them is not being a drunken sack of shit. Gilbert will attempt to teach them to be a prude.
So here's the thing: in medieval societies, everyone drinks, including the
I
children.
know.
The reason is
I
fresh water, is usually not all that safe. The beer is
I'm
safer
aware.
and easier to drink than the water, often.
So 1 gallon of liquid is 16 cups. So yeah,
I'm aware that beer is actually safer to drink than the water. I just wanted to go for the prude meme.
Yeah, it's like it has
I mean,
alcohol.
we got
in it.
purified food and water, so we can do that.
4 gallons across 14 people is about 4.25 cups per person per day. Which
Okay.
Okay, so maybe
it's
2
not a
beers a
lot.
person. Still not a lot.
All right. So here's my next question.
It's a nice side for breakfast and dinner. You get 2 hots and a cod. Each one comes with a beer.
Wait, how many people can Nala teleport?
I want to say 10 plus me.
Okay, so maybe we would have to like use mansion and plane shift. Actually, how many people is plane shift?
Teleport 8 plus me. Plane shift.
Plane shift might be 10.
Okay. But the idea is we could probably transfer maybe 14 to 20 champions over to a side of our choosing pretty easily with the magic we have access to, right? Right, mages?
Actually, I can Magnificent Mansion and then gate there. Gate will stay open for 1 minute.
That makes sense.
It is my 9th level spell slot for the day, but it'll get a lot more there than plane shift or teleport.
So how does that sound for an initial thing? We print out maybe 14 to 20 of these guys, or maybe a mixture of what shield guardians and champions.
I'd say mostly champions. Appoint. All right, how about this? 2 officers, each with 6 people. They're all going to be about the same skill set, but the officers are going to be the people in charge of their fire team or whatever we want to call them. And then each officer gets 1 shield guardian.
Why not 2 shield guardians? That way we're closer to units of 10. Like 2 units of 10.
All right. So officer, 2 shield guardians, and then who
6
just go with
champions.
7 people each, or 6 champions and a mage.
No, let's not do mages yet. We'd have to teach them their magic, and that's going to take longer.
Right. How about an assassin then?
I'm concerned that the factions would be able to use that too creatively and disrupt the balance.
All right.
Yeah, at least for our sample size trial run, I'm thinking maybe we go with a simple unit and then we start, getting diverse and creative.
Okay. So we're gonna need 20 people. That's a week and a half between 2 mages true polymorphing.
Under, do we need to pay the cost on shield golems?
They're contras.
The shield guardians?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, there's really no upkeep with them.
Okay, so Sleuth, how many people is that? Like humanoids?
in total, with each having so 2 officers with 7 guys would be 16. Yeah, 16, and then each one would have 2 shield guardians for 20 total, 16 humanoids, 4 constructs.
Stops us from going mostly construct.
What?
What stops us from going mostly construct with this idea?
No, this is just a test run. We don't want to tell the other nations just how much we have the ability to mass produce.
All right.
Also, it would give us a sizable sample size of sentient creatures with a personality, and to see how that affect. Basically, it'll give us a large enough sample size to see what kind of range of personality we're getting. Because so far, I think our one example was a absolutely fantastic silver dragon, but kind of want to see what kind of results we're getting. You know, that way we can pick the right kind of creatures.
You guys have gone from like just building a base to creating outer heaven in the span of like an hour.
I'm thinking this is basically what's going to turn out to be.
We're a mercenary company.
Got it.
We gotta
It really
start.
is outer heaven, isn't it?
Oh, but forget, can we take care of the 3 paladins? I'm not sure how many days will lapse, but I did have them on ice for
they're out.
10 days. I just want to make sure that was explicitly
Okay,
stated.
so you're also going to be resurrecting them? If I understand that right, yeah?
I
I
mean,
mean, I can help, but I would like to facilitate that.
Spectre, would you be able to revive our fallen paladin comrades?
Probably.
Alright. I mean, you can just do it. They are willing to come back. They will
All right.
help defend Port Hamor.
Should we turn them into dragons again?
Once we ship our recruited company off, or we're done recruiting them, I will re-polymorph them into dragons if they want it.
Yeah, they would like that.
Okay, so after 10 days, you'd be able to polymorph them back, because at that point we would have produced all 20 subjects in question.
All right.
How long do you under how long would it take to train these guys into a functioning mercenary company under our under our flagship company?
Are we going to need like a psychologist or something? I feel like
You've got
this is
a
a lot.
bard.
Also, Pete, you were correct. Spectre is entirely the source of inspiration for this when he first told me about Outer Heaven like months ago.
Wait, have you not played
Oh,
Metal
actually, a
Gear?
year and a half.
Or Metal
Takes
Gear Solid?
never played
70 days.
70 days
70, yeah.
for just one or for the group?
For the whole group.
All right,
I assume you're training them in parallel.
of course.
Yes.
If it matters, I would like to train them, at least the people with the golems, on the fundamentals of magic and how to avoid and fight mages.
Sure.
If it matters, I do also have the Mage Slayer feat.
I mean, it won't give them the feat, but it will definitely help them with their tactics, yeah. So that basically means that it will cost 140 gold for you to train these people per person. To train them. You know, just in their upkeep and salary.
This does not include the golems?
Not including the golems, no. So.
What sort of goods can we make Anola with Fabricate that we could easily sell?
There is a war going on. Plate armor is probably going to be selling out the ass along longsword.
That's something that I'm thinking.
Oh, yes. You know we need plate.
Yeah. And as soon as I get this blueprint for the Mecha Baylor leg, because I'm just out of curiosity of it, that's an extra 50 pounds of steel we got. I think it's steel. Could be other things.
Wait, what blueprint?
It's
I want to design a blueprint of this leg before I just assemble it through Fabricate.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you could do that. You just make a drawing and record of what it's in.
Is it like an actual mechanical prosthetic, or is it held together by magic?
Yes. It's part of what was added on to to making mechanized Baylor. It is not a full prosthetic, as in it replaces their leg. It is an add-on, literally
Like an
bolted
exoskeleton.
on. Yeah, like an exoskeleton that was bolted onto the mechanized Baylor. Mechanically, it's fairly simple. It's just weird magic runes and shit on it.
And it's a whole process of deconstructing the runes, understanding what they are, what they do, and how to
I'm
recreate
not
them.
interested. Yeah. Actually, I am interested, but they are already blueprints that have that information over there back at where we found them. And I would like to go there at some time because I got permission to grab them and read them.
If we were to translate the runes, say from Abyssal to Draconic or Celestial, would they still function as intended, or is the language a part of the enchantment?
The language is usually a part of the enchantment. So yes, you are able to make a record of what all the runes and stuff are on this and how it's constructed before you melt the leg down. Is there anything else you guys are doing during the downtime? Because right now you're up to 130 days.
Under. So when we create these champions, do they get created with equipment from the block?
No, they're naked.
Okay, so we will have to provide equipment.
Yes.
Mick, would you be able to create equipment?
I would need materials. The problem isn't creating the equipment, it's the materials. That's my bottleneck.
What are the chances there's a mine in these mountains?
There actually is one nearby.
Let's go excavate then.
It's a cobalt one.
Well,
You just
let's go
walk up on them. Hey, give us all your shit.
We're not stealing from them, we're recruiting them.
Didn't they all die? Or is this a separate area?
They could all be dead. This is in the. Hold on.
Ooh, while Gilbert's teaching all the people, would it be possible for me to learn how to use heavy armor off of that? Like plate armor specifically.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Okay, so Mick, what kind of bottleneck are we dealing with for resources?
It's mainly steel. By far steel.
Steel. Our shortcoming is steel.
We got wood everywhere.
Is
There's forest.
exporting steel to Hamor, and we only in the 120 days got 83 pounds of steel.
All right. So I have this idea. Bear with me.
Polymorph into bear.
Do you guys know where steel is readily found?
On the battlefield.
Exactly. I know a prime location for a battlefield.
Are we
Then I
going to
should-
Northport? Where?
Precisely. I propose we
Oh.
make a. I propose that we head to Northport and, you know,
Is this going to be a milk run? For
make our introductions.
Is this going to be a milk run for our commando squad?
We're gonna need some rules of engagement, but I am interested. What are valid targets?
Military under what would typical rules of engagement be that Gilbert would have been trained in?
Weapon in hand.
Loot then pillage.
Okay, we're gonna go a little more disciplined than that, I guess.
If you guys are going to do this, I'm going to be training the Rock. I'll set this one up.
I know you like if they're doing this after the 120 days. You've already trained the Rock,
Like fully? Like,
to the level that you rolled for already. Like that was.
Unless you want to train the Rock how to do loop-de-loops.
Yeah, like
I mean,
you-
kind of. Like, I basically, since I can't awaken it, I basically have to train this Rock to the level of, like a conjure, like a find steed or something, basically.
You need to train the Rock to be an attack dog.
You'll never get it to that level. It is a wild animal at heart. It will.
You would need
It will never be that domesticated. Even if you spend an
Damn.
infinite amount of time on it, it simply won't happen.
You can probably get it to attack dog.
You could probably get it to a point where you could ride it.
I'd like to get it to that point then.
Okay, that will
Probably take a while.
It will probably take a while. But we can just do the rolls now. So why don't you go ahead and make a animal handling check?
That's not a good roll.
Yeah, you jump on its back. It flings you off.
Alright.
Try again.
This is happening. Did I ever get the funds needed for the thing I'd like to do?
So you
Okay,
jump on
that
its-
didn't work.
So you try again. This time, gently getting on its back. It rolls over.
Ow.
Go off this
I
time.
hope
Progress.
See,
I try to mount
see, it's an
Rock.
attack dog. It even rolls over like a puppy.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. You get on it, and it takes off, and you're on its back, and that's when you realize, you really don't want to fuck this up after you've mounted it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Keep going.
This is the
Well,
scene where
it's
there's like the loud soaring music and we fly super close to the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it does a barrel roll, and you fall off
Nah.
Exactly what I was thinking.
into the water.
I mean, Basil would be fine. He could
This fills me with the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah. I mean, it's not high enough to kill you or even seriously hurt you,
No.
but
I'm just playing How to Train Your Dragon out here.
yes.
If it was high enough to kill, then you could just wild shape into an air elemental.
All right. Well, keep going.
Oh, alright.
He's playing How to Train Your Dragon, meanwhile in Isengard.
Still going good.
good.
Go ahead and make another one.
Attacking the hobbits to wise. God.
Hunter, you say this is 170 days at this point of his training?
This would be day 170. Yes.
Okay.
And
This is what being a druid is all about.
it is kind of what being a druid is all about. As you realize, this thing is now comfortable enough with you on it that you can use this as a mount.
Ballin'. Alright, now the question is, do I name it Dwayne Johnson or do I name it Big Bird? I'm torn here.
I'd go with Dwayne.
I advocate for Big Bird.
Tom? Nobody's gonna get that lizard. I think I like Big Bird.
Bertha.
So yes, this is only mildly terrifying. You can now ride your rock into battle.
Nice. Hey, the pioneers used to ride these babies for miles.
Are the pioneers.
It's not just a bird. It's a rock.
You're probably the only person to try and ride a rock into battle.
All right, so I just ran the calculation. In order to supply these these two fire teams of ours for 190 days, it would cost us 6,080 gold pieces. Given our ability to,
Given
kind
our
of
ability
produce
to
our own
do
equipment, I believe the cost offset is sufficient. That yes, Dean is clear to engage in his Iron Golem stuff.
All right. Let me go ahead and message the updated thing on the D&D chat before I forget. With the cost expenditure.
All right, so it's day 170.
Mick, do not remove 6,080 gold pieces. I'll handle that stuff on my end.
Okay.
So what do we do when we find out that Northport has all their money stored in offshore accounts to avoid taxes?
We take it.
Better that like Northport is a fucking shithole and everyone there is broke.
Well, they definitely. Well, they'll have something of value, whatever it is. People, resources, something.
If it's
Exactly.
stuff, we can just go back to Balathlan itself.
Under what
Play
was
this town.
the equipment of the primacy? What were most of their guys armed with when it came to metal weaponry and armor?
It was mostly pole arms for the most part. I want to say that they had like chainmail and scale mail
but
for a lot of their
it
armor.
was steel.
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay, guys, we also have a graveyard we could
I have a
recycle.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we like portal like one place and then like load up a bunch of stuff and then portal back?
Probably.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Because I know a whole town that just got sunk. I'm sure there's all kinds of goodies there.
A town got
Thing
sunk.
with the dwarves. Yeah, you missed it. It was in the beginning. It was described to us.
What?
You're talking about the place where the dwarves buried underneath the
yes. I feel like that would be a little
Could that be
difficult to
useful?
loot. I mean,
What if
just
you-
given how hard it was to retrieve our stuff from a 300-foot pit, I feel like that'd be a little difficult to
not
acquire resources
portal
from. Plus,
inside
that's a war
and then
zone.
back.
That's just it. The portal doesn't matter. That's the issue is getting the steel out of the pile.
That's why we turn into dragons and then go.
Again, that might tip hands. I'm thinking we could probably hit the primacy's dead bodies. And then there's probably a military garrison up in Northport we could, attack.
Military
we-
garrison's probably a strong word, but they would probably have some kind of sentry. Some jackass with good eyes watching out with a bow and arrow.
I mean, honestly, the real strength of our two fire teams here is the champions themselves. We just need to have them have good equipment, and we'll be able to get a better deal. Or I shouldn't say we, because they are part of our company. We will be able to get a better deal, including them for their first, battles. If we send them in with full equipment and they don't have to rely on our buyer in order to get equipped.
Just before we do this Northport milk run, we should go hunting, get some leather treated so we can get them at least some kind of armor.
Makes sense.
And then chop down a tree, make some bow and arrows. So we don't have the steel for outfitting all 16 of them with sword shields and armor. We can probably... We might be able to get some of the people a backup short sword and an oak shield or something.
I'll be back.
How much steel are we going to have left over? Also, does our company have a symbol?
Yes, it has a missing texture file pattern with patent pending.
It's the swath of dead bodies you guys leave behind.
We don't need an emblem. Actually, hold on. I can come up with an emblem.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying,
what's like
we
an
can leave an
emblem symbol of the company?
intercontinental calling card.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, so here is my question. Does this symbol to put on our, like, this doesn't even need to be our company symbol, but is this too sinister to stick on our goons?
That's pretty sinister.
I was thinking like some kind of hunting animal in plate armor. Like a wolf.
Yeah, wait. A wolf with a knife in its mouth.
An armored wolf with a knife. I'm gonna go with the wolf in armor.
Armored wolf is also good. The
What
next
about
thing
a
I was
silver
going to pose
dragon,
was
though?
going to be a Roman Aquila.
Well, as long as it's not like a rising sun or something. Our casualty rates are much higher than that.
We can work on that stuff later. We do need to pick a time frame though in which we launch this attack.
I think we're just waiting on Basil's rock training and
No, you're gonna do that while I'm doing that.
so you're sitting out the invasion.
Yes.
Okay.
Just by like choice on principle, or
I don't want to make you guys wait, and also on principle.
The reason why I'm so unresponsive is all these stats I'm setting.
I mean, they're not. It's not a civilian target. It's Northport. They're all smugglers and pirates.
actually, I am kind of curious on the principle of the matter.
Yeah, I just don't feel like invading a whole town.
Fair enough. Would you rather we find a different way?
I mean, what are you doing?
We need to get steel for our 2 fire teams.
Can't you just buy steel?
We tried. We got
They did.
83 pounds in 120 days.
We'll have to look somewhere else then.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. It helps that half of them are Nagajan fucks. Honestly, I'd be more than happy if they were all Nagajan fucks, but I think it's a mix. That's the reason why I asked the question.
I mean, we could always try sifting through the remains of the primacy.
You could do that too. I am interested in the blueprints, in the primacy, and acquiring the high-grade explosives.
Yeah, it seems like it would take care of 2 birds and 1 stone if we went to the primacy. Pete, would go
That I would be more okay with.
Okay.
I just don't know how I feel about like raiding a civilian settlement for weapons.
That's fair. That is
Like
Oh,
Basil
God.
is true neutral. That's a little evil for Basil.
Is Northport a civilian settlement? I was going off the basis that it was pirates and smugglers. That's what I've been told.
I don't think we'd know. We've never been.
I mean, pirates and smugglers are
Or
civilians, and
no,
enforcing the
all
law is not my
you
business.
They'll do anything.
All right. How about so Basil doesn't have to sit out a full session next week? Probably. Let's try to go to the ruins of the primacy. It'll take care of the thing that Dean wants to do and allow us to hopefully equip our 2 fire teams.
Okay, so everyone's going to Ifrin City after 170 days? Do I...
Wait, how many days of downtime did I miss? 50 days? Oh, shit.
Yeah, you have 50 days that you can account for.
Could I get with you under later in the session? I'm just balancing a lot of things, integrating the Iron Golem stat block into this. It's a lot more difficult and cumbersome than I thought it would have been.
Okay.
I probably would just like get another skill or something downtime. But yeah.
Under.
Mhm.
Is it difficult during those 170-ish days to find a couple trees and some wild game to hunt to get leather armor and bows with arrows for our fire teams?
No, it is not difficult.
I would like to do that and then fabricate leather armor, bows, and arrows for all of our champions.
Sure. They're a little squicked out at first because they just saw you fabricate a dead deer into a suit of leather armor, like directly, and that rather disturbed them. But other than that, they're fine.
Yeah, you made me like the entire armor out of like one deer.
Yes.
All of like the straps holding it together are its ligaments, and it's studded with like deer bones
And antler. Yes.
and antler.
Yeah, it's just efficiency. It's stronger armor. There's not as many separate pieces.
Yes. I mean, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't. Because you have leatherworking tools, right? Or leatherworking proficiency?
I think I do, but my monitor keeps turning itself off,
Okay.
so I will check.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you do, it's not a problem at all.
Yes, leatherworking, smithing.
Perfect.
I have a lot of proficiencies. Tinkers, jewelers, weavers, wood carvers.
And are you bringing your operational detachment with you?
I say yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
makes sense. Get them
we're
some
gonna-
practical field.
We're gonna want to get them in a milk run, get them some experience.
I will not be bringing the rock.
Okay.
I will certainly be bringing the Robit, although the Robit is not going to be the one handling the
Ooh.
crazy, dangerous stuff.
Do
The
they know how
Robit's
to
got
ride
an
a horse?
improvement.
Do champions know how to ride a horse?
You could teach them that during that 70 days of training.
Okay,
I
good.
will-
It's basically that 70 days of training, that's boot camp.
Okay.
Think of it
Alright.
like that.
True polymorphs some war horses for them.
Okay.
God, I love our ability to just like. Because you said that these guys are the equivalent of like the heroes of the Iliad.
That's how the army is going to look at them.
We're bringing in
I-
2 fire teams of Achilles.
I absolutely love how we are wielding the kind of power that legends and creation myths are built on. This is just satisfying.
So how are you guys getting everything and your whole entourage down to Ifrin City?
I can gate us there, or we can go with the plane shift method.
How many people are there?
20 with 20 in the 2 fire teams. Another 8 to 10 in the party, depending on who shows up. Maybe
Plus
12.
horses.
Yeah.
Open
horses.
demiplane, stuff everything into demiplane, teleport, reopen demiplane, pull everything out of demiplane.
I think it's just going to be too many plane shifts and teleports to do, and it would be easier to just get by with a gate.
Yeah, I think a gate sounds right.
So that's your
So-
decision. You're just going to gate in.
Yeah, I guess. Gilbert's gonna spawn Mr. Ed out ahead of time.
Do we want to gate into the center of the city or a kilometer out and do some scouting?
I
think
would say we should probably treat it since this is a milk run. The two fire teams should learn how they'd be doing this without access to our high level magic. So we should gate in outside and bring them in.
Oh wait, gate is 9th level. How are we casting this?
What?
Now, essentially, at it.
Oh, do we have the money to just be casting gate willy-nilly?
It does not consume the material component, and I have the diamonds for it.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it does not.
Okay. I assumed it always consumes the material component unless it says otherwise.
No, it's the other way around. It
Oh.
only consumes it if it says it does.
Okay.
Oh, Under, just to make sure with you, the poison breath, does it transfer over?
No.
Okay.
All right, so you guys open a gate and you begin filing through on a hill overlooking the ruins of Ifrin City. You can see the crossroads of the highway going through it, the babbling of the river nearby. You can see another river meeting up with it right at the corner where next to Ifrin City. In front of you, you can see the bridge. Actually, no, you'd probably just gate to the south of it then, be on a hill so you don't have to cross over the river. The sky is overcast, and it is cold. Winter, or late autumn, I should say, is here.
Yeah, we should have gone hunting with that white dragon first. Get some white dragon cloaks. Wait, I can just turn into a silver dragon.
Before you, you see, Ifrin City and its ruined metropolis. Nothing stirs in it. It is deadly still.
Well, Gilbert and Lieutenant, as the two former military guys, I think you two should show the fire teams the ropes.
Spectre, you here?
I saw the mic key up, I didn't hear anything.
Comm check.
There you
I
are.
hear you. I suppose, first of all, what are our objectives here? Scavenge for material and make it to the Primacy's
The
lab?
bunker with the
Sleeping clear.
Secure
Everything is
any,
still alive.
secure any weapons grade materials and research.
What about
Alright.
civilians?
What
There's
civilians?
nobody here, mister.
This city's been dead since the demon invasion. If there are civilians, then yeah, welcome them in. Give them a. We're not here to execute civilians. If there's somebody who is armed and fighting us, then yeah, kill them if you need to.
Spectre, what do you think about how we should deploy the fire teams into the city?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Alright.
We don't even have a tactical map.
That's correct, you don't.
What do we not have?
get a familiar up to get a basic overview of the area.
Yes, you could.
I do the thing.
I don't have a map to show you.
Oh.
I never had a map made for Ifrin City.
Are there any noteworthy structures or clearings that we could
Well,
see?
there is the crater that you know led down into the lab beneath it. There is the central governmental building you kind of collapsed. That's how you got access to that lab in the center. It's also where you found that lever, that particular lever. And you know underneath the city, in not counting the crater, there are 4 other labs that had been set up that each contained a pair of mecha Balors. Other than that, it is a fairly standard city, though it is destroyed.
All right.
Okay.
I think I have an idea. I can oversee the fire team, and when I say oversee, I just mean kind of, make sure that they don't do anything incredibly stupid. I'll watch over them on the surface if you guys want to head into the lab.
All right.
Are you going to keep an eye on both of them, or do you want me to stay up with you to keep an eye on the other?
I should be able to keep an eye on both of them.
Do you have the sending spell?
Yes, I do.
All right, so it's a little unclear to me. What are you doing with your forces?
Gilbert's going to deploy both fire teams to scavenge weapons and armor. Just kind of a general run of, the objective is to secure supplies, but kind of having them go through a practical post-destroyed city, moving through buildings, making sure they're checking their corners, that kind of thing. I'd almost call it live fire training, depending on if there's anybody in the city.
Do they have melee weapons before we get started on this? I wasn't given really resources to make melee weapons. If they need melee weapons,
I guess they'll have to scavenge for their melee weapons.
You could have easily given them all spears.
yeah, I was gonna say if they
Literally
need
sharpened
melee
sticks.
If they need melee weapons, we can just cut down a tree, make some spears or a great club or something.
Yeah, spears, things like that would be fairly trivial for you to have made during the training session.
All right. Okay, yeah. So they're armed with spears. What? Deer armor and bows and arrows.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll just be overseeing them as I deploy them to scavenge, resources.
Okay.
Are we bringing the shield constructs?
Of course.
All right. Okay. Well, I think that's all they need for their job then. Something's probably going to come up on their end.
All right, so you guys start making your way through the city. Dean, are you just going alone with your robot down to the lab? Everyone else is staying with the military unit?
I think Gilbert was the only one staying up.
I'll go with Dean and for support.
You do know I'm the only one with permission to even see the thing, and there's plenty of death traps in there, right? I'm actually going to keep my robot with you guys, with whoever's staying behind.
Still, I mean, I'm also a rogue, so I can get through traps. So yeah. But if you don't want nobody to go with you, I won't go with you. I was going to provide.
I mean, I'd love for you guys to come with, but it's the primacy's, a habit of being a bit paranoid that might
What are they gonna do?
impede that.
If you
What are
think
they
it's
gonna
a bad idea, I'll just poof into an owl or something and keep a bird's eye view on the fire teams. Yeah,
Let's see.
Mick, this is your lab. If you think it's a better idea to go alone, then I'll let you go alone.
Yeah, if you could actually cast some spell to improve me, maybe inspire me, that'd be great. So I'm sure
How long-
there's still some traps I'll have to go through.
How long do you plan on being down there?
Less than an hour. If an hour has passed, something bad has happened.
You're gonna be
I
using your
cast
brain.
Death
or
Ward
you
on Dean.
cast what?
Death
Death
Ward.
ward.
Okay.
Okay. You gonna be using your brain or your hands?
Both.
Which one needs more help? I'm gonna go with your
That's
hands.
what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm less dexterous.
Before Dean leaves, I will give him enhanced ability on his dexterity and a bardic inspiration.
Okay. All right, Dean. So how are you entering the lab? Are you going through the crater or through the main entrance?
We went through the main entrance before. I'll use it again.
Okay. So you make your way to the center of town, down through the destroyed government building, and you are in the security pentagon. Ways north, northeast, etc. all the way around.
All right.
Now you can still see that lever still in the pulled position labeled Forward Operating Laboratory 2.
Funny thing is, I don't actually remember which wing it was that had the technical documents. I think it was one of the extreme ends, so it's either left or right. I think right's the one that had the destroyed section. I'll start right. I'll go ahead and cast See Invisibility and use a Gem of Seeing to get me going.
Okay. Yeah, you start walking down the open hallway to the northeast. It's a long, thin, dark corridor. Your footsteps echo off the walls as you traverse it, coming to a T intersection with curved corridors going off to the left and to the right.
Okay, I think I'm gonna.
There is a label on the wall that labels this Alpha Sector.
Okay. Go ahead and use the same procedure I used before. Familiar popping in and out to get an overview of what's behind the doors and if they're trapped.
Okay, yeah, you start doing that. All of the doors are trapped, including the one into what looks to be a cafeteria.
Okay.
So going clockwise from the T intersection, it was a cafeteria or a canteen. What appears to have been a smithy, anvil and metalworking tools. There is a chamber that appears to have been used for runic assembly, like a fabrication chamber of some kind.
Okay.
One that appears to be a burned and destroyed office. It looks like someone triggered the traps in there. The other is a room of unknown purpose, though it had 3 large glass vats, empty.
Unknown purpose.
All right. Well, let's start with the one in the
And-
cafeteria. Oh,
The second to last room appears to have a table, and both walls are full of filing cabinets.
is this the high value room that I was thinking about? Is it familiar to me?
Yes, this is that records room.
All right.
The last room appears to have been a barracks. Beds and footlockers and the like. Nothing valuable remaining, though. Lockers are open, beds are stripped.
Now, I do believe he said that I had permission to view the files and such.
Okay.
Would it be reasonable to assume that permission to access it would be also permission to open the door?
You may presume what you like.
Well, here's the thing what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to disarm the trap in the cafeteria to get a gauge of how difficult this typically is.
Okay.
Is this a Thieves' Tools check?
Yes, it would be.
All right. I'll go ahead and guidance myself before I do this, since I know what I'm doing.
All right, you hear
I'll stick to that.
Okay. So you start working with it, you hear a click. Then 3 seconds later, the door explodes. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Magic or no?
Yes, this would technically be magic. These are magical explosives.
Flash of Genius, 21.
Okay, so that goes off. You will take half of this. Of 145 magical force damage. As this loud blast echoes, and you can see. I assume you're still awake, yeah?
Yep, I'm still conscious.
All right, as you pull yourself off the far wall, your body's like half stuck to it, and when you look, there's like an outline of an imprint that you made in the wall.
Cool.
Basically, the wall that was directly behind you was shielded from the blast. The rest of it looks like got scoured a half-inch down through solid stone and metal.
Yep.
It's a very
Anything
glorious
left in the
outline.
cafeteria room that's not immediately destroyed?
It takes a minute for the smoke to clear. And when it does, it looks like the entire room has just been vaporized. There's just like a small, like undulating, almost like a model of a desert, but made out of gray ash on the floor.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cast a third level spell. Let's see, what is it called? Aura of Vitality. And leave this wing. Like, I'll be right at the entrance of the hallway, the long-ass hallway back.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be sitting there for a bit while I get some health back.
Okay.
If it matters, this process takes at least a minute.
Okay. I mean, a minute passes, nothing really happens. This place is deathly still after all. I assume that's how much you heal?
Yep.
Very good.
I'm going to go ahead and cast 8 on myself on the 4th level. Get an extra buffer for maximum HP
Okay.
of 15 hit points.
All right.
Okay, that's right through my temp HP. I'm back to full with a combination of that magic and the aid.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what other bonuses I could do. Let's see, there's a smithing room.
Yes.
There's some rune scribing room.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a file cabinet room.
There's also the destroyed office, the vat room, and a barracks. And there's also like the central room where the balers were kept. I imagine you didn't really care about that.
Nah. Let's see, what was this damage again, force?
Yes, it was force.
Alright.
You also now can see that the entryway into the cafeteria is twice as large as it used to be. Why they felt the need to trap their cafeteria in such a way, you don't know.
Yeah.
Because scoundrels and rapscallions.
Gilbert, when you hear the result of the trap up top, you just dismiss it and think it's just like a nearby thunderstorm way off in the distance.
Okay.
Well, let's try to go to the barracks.
Okay. So you're gonna try and disarm this door? If I'm understanding you correctly?
I'm trying to think, like, what else could I add? Like, there's not much more I can add to this. Barracks are places where people just go to sleep, right? It's not where their weapons are, correct?
No, typically they would keep their... In the Maglubia Primacy, they would typically keep their weapons with them as well. However, I told you when your familiar popped in, you could see that like the footlockers and stuff were open and everything's been stripped.
All right.
Like there's nothing valuable inside of there, from what your owl could see.
All right.
So if you're going to try and disarm it, that's a Thieves' Tools check.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's go for the files.
Okay. So you go to the door to the records room. What do you do?
I suppose I will attempt to disarm the trap.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make a Thieves' Tools check.
I will be adding the Bardic Inspiration. I will be guidancing myself. And I will be adding Flash of Genius to this total.
So 37?
37.
Okay. You hear a click. 3 seconds go by. Nothing seems to have happened.
Pop in the familiar. Does anything seem to have changed? The condition of the room?
It appears unchanged.
Okay. Do I suspect there are any more traps?
I don't know. Do you suspect there are more traps? You're asking me to tell you what you think. I can't do that. I'm not telepathic.
Fair enough. May I make an investigation check to see if there are any more
certainly make an
traps?
investigation check to see if there's more traps on the door.
All right. I'll enhance ability myself with this, make it a bit easier.
Okay.
$23.
Well, you don't find any other traps other than the explosive one you already disarmed.
Am I able to uninstall it from wherever it might be? I'm not
No,
sure of
it's
the nature of the trap.
They're basically shaped charges pointed at the door from inside the room. No, you can't remove them from this side of the door. You have to go inside and actually like physically pull them out.
Okay. Do I think tampering with it would set it off, or have I already disarmed it? Like to
You
where
disarmed the
that's
mechanism
not a-
that set it off if you open the door. They are still
Okay.
live explosives.
So as long as I'm ginger and like make some kind of check, it'll be fine.
Okay, sure.
I don't know.
Well, that's right. You don't know.
I'll do the thing. I open the door.
It's locked.
Of course they'd lock it. It's another thieves' tools check.
Yeah, it's another thing. You'll check to pick the lock.
Guidance. Fuck it. I think I did that wrong. Let me try again.
You did. You did that really, really wrong. It's KH, not Heckler and Koch. Or Kosh.
Much
however you
better.
pronounce it.
That's my check.
All right. There is a clunk as the deadbolt, pulls back, and you can open the door.
All right.
The door kind of swings open. You can hear the ungreased hinges just making this like grinding sound as it just, opens slowly. But it does open.
All right. I dismiss my familiar if I haven't already. And I'm looking for stuff relevant to the Mecha Baylors.
So you're starting to open up a filing cabinet and start looking?
Is it categorized?
Sort of. They're labeled by columns, by letter, and rows by number. The drawers are.
Okay.
So if you knew where it was, if you had an index of some kind, you might be able to tell. But you don't know what's in each of these.
Am I able to find an index? Is there somewhere out there that's what do you call it in a library?
Card catalog?
Yes.
No, there isn't one.
I think I'm gonna go, guys.
All right, have a good night, mister.
Have a good one.
Sip.
I will be right back. It'll take me a few moments. Could you shift to another aspect, maybe the metal stuff?
No.
Oh, well, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Yeah, because the metal guys are boring. They are shifting through rubble and dead bodies and finding the occasional weapon and piece of metal. There's really nothing going on with them right now. Sorry, guys.
All good.
Oh, hey, look, that one doesn't have as much rust on it.
Honestly, I actually am kind of glad because I had to go make food because I was starving. I forgot to eat today.
Yeah, I can never understand people who forget to eat. I just get hungry and I have to go eat.
I mean, there are times where I just forget to have biological functions like sleep. It's
Not
not
even partial. I mean, it's responsible for a lot of my woes.
I mean, it's one of those things where like I get hungry, so I grabbed a small bite to eat, like an apple or something, but it doesn't last very long, and then you get hungry like a couple hours later, and then like, oh right, I should probably make it an actual meal instead of a snack.
Look, all I'm saying, if you eat enough snacks, that's effectively the same as a meal.
I try not to. I put on enough weight after my thyroid shut down.
I'm just saying,
I have,
does it
reject.
really matter?
All right.
Does it really matter if you're eating 2 pounds of chocolate chip cookies or 2 pounds of a cheeseburger?
All right, Mick or Dean. So you're standing in this records room. 2 walls, left and right, both of them full of filing cabinets, all closed, labeled with just like a coordinate-based filing system.
Do these cabinets have locks?
They do not appear to have locks.
Okay. Well, there's only one thing left to do, I guess, and that's to find the document. If I accidentally stumble upon anything else related to constructs and such things, I would be interested in those as well. But primarily, I'll start with the Mecha Baylor.
Okay, so you should open like the first drawer and just start working your way systematically through everything.
I mean, yeah, for about half an hour.
All right, you open the first drawer. A mouth forms on the wall opposite the door. You can tell that this is a magic mouth effect, which immediately starts yelling that there is unauthorized people in the records room. And then everything explodes.
Wouldn't the okay, whatever. That seems like a waste of that enchanter's time.
I could have sworn I got permission from that thing. That is unfortunate.
Yeah. So I need a strength save from you because there's no dodging this. You're just going to have to be resilient.
Wow.
Okay. Well, it's 118 force damage, as everything in the room is reduced to that gray ash. It also looks like those shaped charges off at the door also went off and have carved a crater into the wall opposite.
Oh, that's extremely disappointing.
Yep, that's unfortunate. Are you still up?
Oh, yes, I'm still up.
Good. How many hit points do you have? I'm just curious.
Normally 165. With the casting of 8, it's an extra 15.
Oh,
I did
good.
have the 20 HP buffer from the drugs that I get every day.
Right.
That was gone on the first explosion.
Number.
This
Right.
second one's got me less than 100.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how close I came to killing you was all.
Oh, no, you weren't going to be
All
able
right,
to kill
good.
him.
As the lava pours into the room.
Is this
No.
the part where he walks over a power word kill trigger?
No, but there's still like 3 other, sectors that probably still have rooms to check. So it's not like he lost all chances of getting this info.
God damn.
But maybe he'll have to be more careful and disarm up more traps.
Yep.
But
how do we even disarm a magical trap?
Carefully.
Because, would Dispel Magic just set off a trap?
Depends on how the trap is made.
The primacy fucks would probably make it the best way.
They make it the most annoying way. All right, but
the best
Gilbert and the rest of you guys, you're going through the town looking for loot. A tall blue elf kind of steps out from behind a corner about 60 feet away from you and kind of looks at you. She looks kind of like this.
I will land
and
shape
she just looks at you and says, "You are trespassing." And that's where we will call it for the night.
Could I top myself off before